Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Olympian Field on the campus of Leuzinger High School. Along with Mike Galarza and Renard Ricks, I'm Lou Stowers up in the booth, and down on the field, it's Beto Duran. We'll be covering Hawthorne, and Rashawn Haylock will be covering Leuzinger. And it is the Mayor's Cup tonight. Hawthorne with the record of 0-4 against Leuzinger, who is 2-1. And to get more on the Hawthorne Cougars, let's go down to Beto Duran.
Thanks, Lou. The Cougars might be 0-4 on their season, but their head coach, James Swain, is still excited. He said despite being shut out in 3 games, they have played one of the toughest non-league schedules and is excited about the way his quarterback, DeAndre Hinton, a junior transfer, has stepped up as a leader of this team to go along with senior tight end Artis Perry. Now the bad news. Running back Marcus Allen has a hairline fracture. He suffered it in the Compton game. He will play tonight, but expect him only on defense. Back to you, Lou.
All right, and that hairline fracture is on his big toe, so he will be playing some defense, but Coach Swain said he does not want to risk that running back, that big running back's toe on offense, Mike. And so this has been well, this is going to be a homecoming for you tonight.
It's a pleasure to be back in Lawndale on a Friday night. Tonight, it's a big game between 2 rival high schools, and when you have a rival game, a lot of the past, the records, and what they've done in the past, you can throw out because they're going to be playing on emotion, and sometimes emotion can get you a win. So it's going to be very interesting to see how Hawthorne comes out tonight and how they respond to Leuzinger, who seems to be playing like a powerhouse these days in the South Bay.
They are 2-1 going into tonight's game, a big 10-7 win over Norco. And for more on the Olympians, let's go down to Rashawn Haylock.
Thanks, guys. Although the legacy game earlier this season was considered a home game for Leuzinger, actually week 4, this is actually the home opener for the Olympians. This is the first time that they've had a home game at their home stadium so far this season. They should definitely be fired up. In addition to the home opener, last week they were victorious 10-7 over a Norco team that was the Inland Division CIF Southern Section champions just a year ago. A 10-7 win at Norco, in which Glenn Tolliver threw for 230 yards and a touchdown. He actually got hurt in that game and came back. Also, you listen to this crowd behind me, they're fired up. Not only are they fired up, these Olympians are fired up, and the mental games have already begun. Before going through the tunnel just now, the Olympians ran a perimeter around the entire field. Yes, of course, guys, that included in front of the Hawthorne sidelines. The mental games have already begun, and yet another battle and quest for the Mayor's Cup. We'll send it back upstairs to you guys.
All right, thank you very much for Rashawn Haylock, who will be covering the Olympians for us all game long in the Mayor's Cup game. And it is down there somewhere. I'm sure our camera people will find it. Mayor Hoffman of Lawndale is there as well. And here come the Olympians, and there's a lot of them. Renard Ricks, you saw this team up close and personal at Orange Coast College against Legacy of Denver, actually Broomfield, Colorado. What were your impressions?
Well, I think both of us left that game a little unsure about this Leuzinger team. Too many turnovers to really determine what their real strengths were. We saw them go up and down the field, but just get stopped drive after drive due to penalties and turnovers. We had a brief moment to talk to Coach Tolliver about that very fact tonight, and he alluded that that was going to be something they were going to definitely cut down on tonight. And I think he feels that it all started last week at Norco, as was mentioned by Rashawn. A big win for them to go out to Norco and now to come home for their first home opener against crosstown rival. This should be a real good one, Lou.
And it's always a Donnybrook, isn't it, Mike?
You know it is, and I'm looking forward to seeing a lot of hard hitting tonight.
And the kickoff is made. It goes to Eddie Ficklin. And now Ficklin can't find anywhere to go except out of bounds because there was a sea of jerseys, and already there's a first penalty flag of the game.
And it looks like it was a late hit on the sidelines. Again, a lot of emotion carrying into that first kickoff. Leuzinger responding with a late hit on the sidelines, and the referee was quick to throw that flag.
Number 24 for Leuzinger is going to pick up that penalty. Deshaun Mills, a little too aggressive after the ball carrier had gone out of bounds already, and the officials right on top of it. As you see, they're getting ready to march off this. See if this is going to be a big one or a little one. Looks like it's going to be a big one.
Personal
15
foul
yards.
penalty, so big one.
15 yards, that's going to make that 20-yard return into a 35-yard return. And field position is important, and it looks now like Hawthorne is going to end up with the ball on the 35.
And I'm sure Coach Swain is liking this. Get a good start, good field position, something certainly his team is going to need to get some momentum early to try to keep this Leuzinger defense tired come the fourth quarter of the game.
Now the ball will be spotted on the 35-yard line of Hawthorne to start off the game. And we have a new running back, Mervyn Williamson, a junior, 5'8", will be running the ball instead of Marcus Allen. And DeAndre Hinton will be at quarterback for the Cougars. And here they come out of the shotgun, one back behind him. And boy, the electricity is already in the air before the first snap.
You can feel it. You can almost cut it with a knife, and I feel the energy.
Double tight end set, quick drop, quick throw, and it is dropped over on the far sideline as Eddie Ficklin was the intended receiver.
That time, Hawthorne came out with a double tight end set, looked to give their quarterback some protection on the ends to give the quarterback enough time, as you can see here on the replay. Unfortunately, he bounced the pass to his receiver, and now we're looking at 2nd and 10.
As you mentioned, Mike, looked like they're trying to keep this offense, keep the defense spread it out.
Out of the shotgun, double tight end set, two receivers on either side. Makos Hinton looks left, throws right. The pass is complete on the design. Wide receiver screen, but look out, there's Kavienga for the big hit.
Just as we expected, Kavienga going to get his name mentioned often and early tonight. UCLA prospect got to set up and got to step up tonight early.
And as you can see in the replay, they're trying to hit the flats with a pass pattern. That's because the cornerback is playing off the receiver a good 7 yards, and they're trying to get the ball out to them. Unfortunately, the Leuzinger linebackers show a lot of speed and tenacity to the ball.
And, Mike, that was one of the tendencies that Leuzinger had against that legacy squad. As you remember, Lou, the cornerbacks were laying off of the wide receivers just a little too much, and they got burned quite a bit. We'll see if Coach Tolliver can stop that tonight.
Idris split to the near side for Hinton on a big third down play early for the Cougars. And there we have encroachment on the defensive line.
Number 9, it looks like Moala jumped a little early.
And right away, you can see the Leuzinger defense making an adjustment to the double tight end set for Hawthorne, bringing up a 5-man front, and it looks like they're a little eager off the snap there.
So that brings the ball up to the 44-yard line of Hawthorne, and that's going to make it a little easier on this third down play. It'll be 3rd down and 4 yards to go. A long 3 yards to go. Now our referee calls a timeout. Frank Johnson is the white hat. The umpire is Ty Paul, the head linesman. Mike Salgren, the line judge, Frank Frygretz, and the back judge,
Sean Alford.
Sean Alford. All right, thanks.
Can't read my handwriting, Lou. I'm sorry. That one I have to get better with.
No, your writing it looks like calligraphy compared to mine.
Well, it looks like Leuzinger's right back in their old pattern. 2 penalties here early in this first drive, and those are the kind of things that I'm sure Coach Tolliver had talked about not wanting to get into to give this Hawthorne team any momentum, because his fear is that if they get any momentum, they'll start to believe that they can really play with this Leuzinger team, and you know how that can happen. Momentum, crosstown rivalry, as you mentioned, Mike, you have to throw all of that out the window when you get them this close.
3rd down and 1 as the chains had to be adjusted. So now Hinton is right over center, trying to sneak it across, and does. Across the 45, all the way to the 46-yard line. 1st and 10 for the Cougars, and that is big.
Well, you know, if Hawthorne's strategy is to try to keep Leuzinger from scoring, they're doing it the right way by holding on to the ball. Getting a first down that time, aided by a few mistakes on the Leuzinger defense. As you can see the replay, the quarterback just taking it right off the gap between center and guard and getting the yardage he needs to get 4 more downs.
And that's an excellent call with just 1 yard needed.
Now everybody is on the line except for Hinton and his running back, Mervyn Williamson. Back to pass out of the shotgun, throws it on the flat again. And is it complete? Yes, it is, right at midfield. So it'll be 2nd and 5 for the Cougars after the completion by Ficklin.
And looked like Ficklin just sat down right there and waited on that ball. A couple of these passes by Hinton seem to be a little short. And you see here in the replay, let's see if we can see. He's already on the ground. Nope, not quite. Almost had to go down. He was on the ground to get that. Might have been a skip.
That was the second time that they ran the same play out into the right sidelines. And Leuzinger defense is playing a 5-3 defense. So, again, they're taking advantage of the outside.
That corner's going to get tighter.
Same double tight end set. Now the pitch goes to Williamson. Just hit head on and thrown back. Oh, mercy. Kavenga with the big hammer on Williamson.
And Rosaki Hill in there to help out Kavenga, but truly, goodness gracious, Mr. Williamson got met. And I tell you, he's going to certainly think about taking those two guys on, I think, again, head on, as you see him there.
And you can see there were 4 or 5 Leuzinger players at the end of that play, and that's the kind of defense you like to see.
Now, Rosaki Hilt was also in the neighborhood as Ricardo Casillas leads the Cougar offense out. The center for Hawthorne. Big Artis Perry, the tight end on the right side. Let's see if they'll go that way. Hinton out of the shotgun. Hands it, nope, fake handoff on the play action. Has a man open downfield. It's caught down at the 20-yard line. And a penalty flag that should go against Leuzinger. Fickin with the big catch.
Well, let me ask you, Lou, you think the Hawthorne coaches saw something on the tape when they were looking at the Leuzinger defensive backs? Because that's the 3rd play that they've thrown to that right side, the left cornerback for Leuzinger.
Now, not only that, I think Fickin is also your best receiver. So you got the guy throwing it over there, and I think you're right.
It's all about matchups.
Well, you can see if we can get there, Samarj Harris, face guard, not even look, didn't turn around in time to catch the ball, and that's clearly a penalty. And it's going to give Hawthorne Cougars excellent field position now.
And do believe we saw Samaj do that same thing, play catch-up against Legacy.
And was burned in that game.
There
Oh, big
goes
fumble.
The ball on the ground, and let's see if the Cougars get it back. And they do, as big number 58 is not on our roster. Maybe it's Fred Gibson.
Well, I tell you, that ball was right there for the pickings for someone. It looked like number 9. Let's see if we can see in the replay who had bounced up and nearly fell right into his arms. Right there, number 4. Had he been looking as opposed to trying to make the tackle, he might have been able to pick that up and run all the way in with it.
That was Idris, who was supposed to get the handoff, and Kavienga
was almost there.
Yeah. He had his hands wrong. His hands are wrong. You don't get a handoff like that.
You know, being a linebacker, he's not used to carrying the ball. He wasn't looking for the ball. He was looking for the runner.
He's looking for food. Food with in the number 4 on him.
Big loss here,
looking
Luke.
for cougar meat. As that goes about to 10 yards, but now it is almost picked off. Where is it? It is by Deshaun Mills. Pass was intended for Ficklin, but Deshaun Mills looked like he was the receiver.
And I love the way he turned around and played the ball. If we can see that on the replay, he stayed with it the entire time. As you see him airing it out. Wobbly pass, and I think that's why it was slightly underthrown, but he bobbled it, stayed with it, kept his eyes on it, and took it to the ground for the big interception. Now, you know what's interesting? He was the one that got the first penalty at the kickoff. Now he redeems himself with a big interception.
That's a big momentum killer for Hawthorne. And now Leuzinger is coming out in a run formation.
And they're just trying to get some running room, and as the running back gets about 5 yards on the play. As
Leuzinger taking no chances, usually running their spread offense, this time coming out of a power I, and they're in the power I again. It looks like they're just going to grind it out until they can get a little more space to air out the ball.
Jermel Mitchell is the big halfback, the big tailback.
He's breaking free.
As he's now
that's
getting to midfield. Rosaki Hilt. So who is that? That's Rosaki Hilt going inside the 20-yard line and out of bounds. Big run for Hilt, and Leuzinger.
That was just straight out power. Power left and a power off the left tackle, tight end side, and he broke it.
And you can see here, Mike and Lou, as he broke through the line and got into the secondary. Nobody really there to stop him. Looks like he just kind of ran out of gas, as he may be still feeling some injuries from that legacy game a few weeks ago. But a big, strong run down the sidelines before he's knocked out inside the 20, right at about the 15, 16-yard line. Big pickup. And I noticed he was looking for somebody to come in and spare him. He was a little winded on that long run.
And now we're going to have a delay of game penalty against Leuzinger. So all the penalties so far have been against Leuzinger.
Another penalty against Leuzinger. And, Coach, I tell you, this is looking more like that legacy game again.
I tell you, sure is.
This time, Leuzinger coming out in their spread formation with the receivers to the short side and one receiver to the wide side.
So Rasaki Hilt with a 70-yard gain. But then now it's 1st and 15. As getting the ball is Joshua Brown. Brown gets inside the 10-yard line, goes around the tacklers and inside towards the 5. What a terrific move by Mills. Check
Joshua
that, Brown.
Well, I tell you, Brown looked like he ran about 50 yards to pick up 6. But no doubt he was trying to keep momentum and certainly trying to make it way into the end zone as he breaks left, trying to swing wide, and then cuts it back inside and just decided to take it to the other sideline after he started to lose some footage. Tough run by this young man to try to get something going for these Leuzinger Olympians.
Glenn Tolliver hands the ball off to Hilt, who bowls his way in the towards the end zone. Touchdown, Leuzinger.
That Rozaki Hilt is just a strong runner, and that was something we kind of had a chance to notice in that legacy game, and he's coming out here again tonight showing us that he came to play ball and he wants to take that mayor's trophy again.
And Leuzinger just powering their way to their first score, with most of the yards coming in that power I formation with a lead back and a couple of double team blocks on the line of scrimmage.
I think you have to give a lot of support and a lot of hand to that offensive line as they just clear it out, that Hawthorne defense.
And the kick by Zardis Gerast is wide, but at least they got a kicker. So it is 6-0 Leuzinger. Boy, lightning strikes, but you got to give it to the big hogs down front.
Those gentlemen really earned it the entire time from when they started this drive. As you see them just having their way up front, moving that defense back into the end zone. Rozaki Hilt, I don't think he was touched until he crossed the line.
You know, you might wonder whether Hawthorne was preparing to see a different offensive formation tonight, because tonight Leuzinger came out with that power I offensive set and just pounded their way through the middle of the Hawthorne defense.
Let's go down to Beto Duran.
First defensive drive for Hawthorne was done without number 55, Kevin Huff, a linebacker. He was injured on the initial kickoff, injured right shoulder. He will be back in the game. They just don't know when. Back to you, Lou.
Thank you very much, Beto. And the kickoff goes out of bounds, so it will be spotted at the 20-yard line.
And Lou, I don't mean to harp on it, but it's just so obvious. Leuzinger is again just turning the ball over. Here we go, right on the kickoff. We can't even keep it on the field of play. And these are the kind of things that certainly will come back to haunt them, as I'm sure they found out against that legacy team. They don't want to have to repeat that, I'm sure, tonight.
So 35-yard line, excuse me, as that's where the kickoff goes to, and it goes out of bounds. As the scoring drive was 4 plays, 1 minute 24 seconds. Rozaki Hilt with a 6-yard run. The kick was no good. Boy, Hinton and the Cougars were really putting on a nice drive until they turned the ball over. And again, a pass out in the flats on the down and outs on the far sideline by Ficklin makes the catch for a short gain for the Cougars. But they're moving the chains forward.
Well, they had a lot of success with that same play in that previous drive. Looks like number 1, Nicholson Tuafa, got out there a little earlier this time, and I think he's tired of seeing that quick out. And he's going to try to shut that down if they continue.
Well, Ficklin has right now 48 yards in 4 receptions for the Cougars.
I think it'd be wise to maybe put somebody on Ficklin, don't you think?
Yeah, right now it's man coverage and a lot of padding over there. Going to see him again and almost picked off over on the sideline as it was Artis Perry going for the catch.
That's the first time we've seen him go to the big tight end Perry, and maybe he just got tired of going over there to Fickelson.
Hawthorne looks like they're going to work on the sidelines and hit the flats until Leuzinger says something about it, because Leuzinger at this point really doesn't have an answer to Hawthorne's passing game out on the sidelines.
3rd down and 5, so let's see if the Cougars have an answer now. It's a big 3rd down play. 5 minutes and 11 seconds left to go in the first quarter. 6-0 Olympians. As now they're playing a little tighter. And this one was a screen pass to Williamson, but he was introduced again to Kavienga.
You know, that time Leuzinger came out with 2 safeties deep, and it looked like they were playing a cover 2 formation, and that way they were trying to stop the flats from, as you can see in the replay right here, they tried to clear out with a receiver and hit the running back. Unfortunately, the quarterback just missed his running back out of the backfield.
I think for Mervyn Williamson, that was a favor.
Indeed, if Kaviengo had straightened him up, if he had caught that ball, I'm sure.
Oscar Aravello will be punting the ball away for the Cougars.
And we've got another flag on the field here. Let's see a delay.
Yeah, probably. We learned a lot about the delay of game, how they call that.
Yes, that's the first one against Hawthorne. And I tell you, you just about expected to be against Leuzinger. I was a little skeptic in deciding who that was going to be on. But neither of these teams can afford to have penalties and turnovers, as they're going to need everything they can get if they plan to take that Mayor's Trophy Cup back.
As Deshaun Mills on his own 30-yard line. Low kick as the Olympians.
Looked like he might have got a piece of that.
And now Mills gets a nice block. He's down the 35, 30. Now down to the 20. Look out from behind. He's Ricardo Casillas. Or was that Fred Gibson that got him?
Fred Gibson on the tackle, hustling down the field, not giving up on the play, and that's something I'm sure Coach Swain would like to see. As you see here on the kick, Deshaun Mills had a lot of real estate once he broke containment, and it was just really one man to beat after he got right by this gentleman. And there's the kicker, the only one to get by, but the kicker stayed with it, slowed him up, and there it comes Fred Gibson in the back to clean it all up.
A 50-yard return for Deshaun Mills puts it at the 17-yard line of Hawthorne.
Excellent field position, Lou.
Oh, yeah. As Tolliver, as they had trips to the far side on receivers, and everybody moved there. This is going to be a close call here.
I think
Who's
it's going to
get
go.
it?
It's going to go against Joshua Duarte, I believe, number 73. If we can get a replay, he was right over the nose tackle, and he kind of moved in there a little too early. There you see the call by the ump.
Hawthorne can't afford to help out Leuzinger at this point.
Not at all. So Hawthorne gets the penalty, and now towards the corner of the end zone, and is it
dropped
picked
it.
off?
No, dropped it. Number 5, that was Sean Kemp, or Justin Kemp, I believe. Kemp had it, looked like it was going to be underthrown, but went over the hands of the cornerback, and I think it looked like Kemp thought it was going to be tipped as well. If you see it here in the replay, Tolliver gets it up, puts some air under it. The defender there just underestimated, fell right into the hands of Kemp, and he just couldn't hang on to it.
And that was Eddie Ficklin on the coverage, and the Cougars trying to time that snap, and they're offside and giving them more yardage.
It looks like they're going to get a first down off this call. Once again, Leuzinger capitalizing off of Hawthorne's mistakes.
Well, there have been 3 penalties on this drive for Hawthorne, and I'm certain this is not what Coach Swain had thought it was going to happen for his team tonight.
So now 1st and goal from the 7-yard line now makes it a lot easier for Hinton as he throws a swing pass, and going into the end zone is Deshaun Mills, but there's a flag on the play.
I believe it's going to be roughing the passer. It looked like it might have been a late hit on the quarterback, Tolliver.
Well, let's find
That time, Leuzinger scoring off a missed tackle. Cornerback was in position to make the play, but he just straight out missed the tackle. Leuzinger was able to walk in with a score.
So it is a touchdown, as I'm sure that the Olympians will decline it. We haven't had an official call yet from Johnson.
So you can see the cornerback makes a nice read. Unfortunately, he can't bring the receiver down, and as a result, Leuzinger has its 2nd score of the evening.
We don't have that number 58 who was coming in there with the late hit on the quarterback, so don't have him on our roster, so we can't call his name out. But number 58, you know who you are.
Tolliver to Mills at 4:31 makes it 12-0, and Gerast on to tack on the extra point.
Can we get an extra point, Lou?
Let's see. Let's start burning the incense in here.
You know, that was really what hurt them against the Legacy game. They missed 3 extra points, and guess what they lost by? The 3 extra points.
Snap back. Kick is up, and it is good.
Boy,
13-0.
Joy, joy, joy. I think we got a kicker. Well, I'm sure that brought a lot of relief to Coach Tolliver. I see him down there clapping his hands, and I don't know how well they did last week against Norco, but no doubt they definitely needed to see an extra point go through.
Absolutely.
There you see some of the cheerleaders who are down here to spur this Leuzinger team on, and no doubt the mayor of Hawthorne, I think we saw him a little earlier, and he was down here with the trophy and seemed to be really excited about tonight's game, and no doubt making plans to take that trophy back home.
Hey, why not?
It looks like there was a penalty being assessed now on the kickoff. The kickoff taking place at Hawthorne's 45-yard line.
Yeah, the personal foul.
So once again, Leuzinger taking advantage of Hawthorne's mistakes, and Hawthorne really can't at this point afford to make any more mistakes if they want to stay in this ball game.
As Gerast makes the kickoff, and that's going to go well past the end line. So it'll be.
How many times you see that in a high school game? Kickoff out of the end zone.
From the 40-yard line to better. Or the 50-yard line. But it'll be 1st and 10 for the Cougars, who were just knocked back on their heels after that interception on the long drive, their first drive of the game.
Came out, looked like they were on fire, took the ball right down the field, and I think the drive stopped around the 6-yard line where they turned it over. And it's been all uphill for Leuzinger after that. And I'm sure Coach Swain is like, what happened? Who flipped the switch? We were doing so well, but penalties are starting to catch up with Hawthorne as well.
And also the team speed of Leuzinger kind of ran him over too. As now they're in that double tight end set when the quarterback has his halfback behind him. Hand off, and Leuzinger.
A host of tacklers in there to make the big stop, as they were back there about the time that Williamson got the ball.
I think they were waiting for Williamson to get the ball.
And it didn't look like he was wanting it too much either, with all of them staring him in the face there. As you see, this defense just bum rushed him back there, and it looks like, what, 52 and 51. 53. It's everybody back there.
Otis Jones, Ronald Battle.
That's what you call tackling by committee.
That's called blowing the offensive line on their backs.
Well, Coach Swain says this team has got some good prospects coming up in the years to come, and he's on the way to improving this team. We'll talk about that a little bit later as this play gets started.
2nd down and 14. And now Leuzinger goes offside, trying to time that snap.
Again, something we saw in that Legacy game. Number 57, Sam Williams, I think a little eager, trying to anticipate the snap count. And I don't feel why there's a need to try to just get so aggressive, so eager, so early. You're already up 13-0. Just stay the course, knock down the penalties, and play good, solid football.
You know, when you do it once or twice, you can blame it on eagerness. When it happens the whole night, now you're dealing with discipline issues on your defensive line.
Mental errors, and that's something we saw against that Legacy team a couple of weeks ago.
High snap to Hinton as the pass is complete for about 5 yards over on the far sideline. Ficklin with the completion, and he'll take those 5-yard gains all night long.
And Tafu there with the tackle, and they came out with that in the first drive. It seemed to be pretty successful, and we thought maybe they were getting a little redundant with it, but I guess no need to change if it's working.
Now the Olympians cornerback, number 25, Darnell Mitchell, on the program it lists him as 5'9". I'm not too sure if that's the case, but that's a Hawthorne sidelines over there, and the coach is looking at Darnell on his sidelines.
That's with those 3-inch cleats he's got on.
We got a sophomore covering a senior, so that could be why there's such a big cushion. Is Hinton going to throw deep this time? And intercepted on the far sideline, and it's taken by Harris. Harris is knocked out of bounds on the far sideline at about the 30-yard line, and another turnover by the Olympians.
I think it looks like it's a PI call on that play, though. There's a penalty flag, and I think they got the cornerback for riding the hip on the receiver while the ball's in the air. I'm not sure if you can see it in the replay. There it is right there. Looks like it was a pass interference call on the Leuzinger defense. Holding, as you can see, the call. The receiver can't go anywhere if you're holding on to him, right?
You got to wipe that penalty out, and I'm sure Coach Swain has got to breathe a sigh of relief. He doesn't need that to go right now.
No.
Team was starting to move, trying to get some momentum back before this gets out of hand, and trying to go up top, I think, trying to get something going, and that ball looked like it was more for Harris than it was for the intended receiver. What was that, 9? Bird?
Anderson Bird.
Anderson Bird.
So no interception, and instead it's a first down. But Anderson Bird, for him, the memory of that hit will linger on.
He might not want to jump up too often, certainly not too fast. Let's see if Hawthorne can get something going now after the big penalty.
So from the 35-yard line, man in motion is Perry, goes back into his set on the tight end side. On the option play, look out, goes to Mervyn Williamson, and now we have a late hit.
Again, that's Tuafa. Looked like Nicholson Tuafa just in there a little too aggressive. Man was already down, no need to pile on the misery. Or insult the injury, I guess you can say.
It doesn't appear that there's too many holes in this Leuzinger defense. If you're going to try to exploit something, I think Hawthorne at this point might want to seem committed to passing it out to the flats and working that matchup they have on the outside, because Leuzinger's speed on the against the run just seems to be too dominant at this point in the game.
I know Coach Tolliver's just got to be scratching his head. Why is my team making these mental mistakes? We're up 13-0. We've got them right where we want them, and we're just giving them first down after first down, moving right down the field. And there you see a timeout. Look like Coach Tolliver is one of the first coaches on the field. He needs to settle this defense down, and looks like he's in their faces out there. Guys, what are you doing? You're killing me out here.
1 minute, 33 seconds left to go in the first quarter. It is the battle for the Mayor's Cup, as Leuzinger High School has had it for quite a few years on their sideline. And, yeah, penalties, we haven't seen an improvement since the Legacy game. Maybe they did at Norco when they defeated the Wildcats. Looked like a defensive battle with a 10-7 score. But right now, it's just like a gang of wild dogs unleashed right now.
I think after last week's win for Leuzinger, they've gotten the attention of quite a few high school programs in the area. Leuzinger wasn't favored to win last week, and I don't know if you would call it an upset or not, but they did come home with a win on the road against a very formidable Norco team. And if anything, it's a testament to their potential and the possibilities of this team.
There's a nice shot of that trophy that they're both playing for tonight, and no doubt the mayor of whichever city is lucky enough to take it home will be quite proud of it.
Mayor Hoffman wants to keep it in his office. Thank you very much. And so far, the Olympians are up 13-0 with 1:33 left in the first half. and a new quarterback. And the passes to Ficklin, it was short, as we were told that Neil Campos was going to come in at doing some quarterback. So Campos.
And Noel Campos comes in, and he's not gun shy. He comes out and airs it out first play, and a little short on it, as a lot of defenders back there. I don't think that pass had much of an opportunity to get by. As you see him dropping back, looking deep, plenty of time, got some protection, put it out there, just a little short. And the receiver wasn't able to get back and get it. As you see him trying to get back there, Mike.
It's very hard for a quarterback to sit back in the pocket like that and then eventually try to make a pass downfield. Many times the receivers just flat out outrun the quarterback's arm. And in this case, the ball went short.
DeAndre Hinton back in the driver's seat at quarterback. Look out, Kavienga coming in on the blitz, but Marcus Allen coming in. Allen on the screen pass takes it and goes for about 7 yards. So we didn't expect to see Marcus Allen, but there he is.
Well, surprise, surprise there, Lou. I guess Coach Swain is, I don't want to say he's feeling a little desperate, but no doubt he's looking for a spark plug, something to get this team turned around. And as he alluded to us in some of the pregame comments, he said he didn't really want to play this young man tonight. He's got a bye week next week. And then, of course, that notorious Ocean League starts the week after that. And he wants this young man at full speed when that starts.
Well, in spite of the score, Hawthorne seems to have more time possession with the ball. So Leuzinger, although they're up ahead, they've been scoring quickly. So Marcus Allen seems to be a little rested at this point.
Man in motion is Marcus Allen. Hinton, lone man in the backfield, wants to
Looking
swing it
for
out.
him.
Looking for Allen. It is incomplete. Knocked away at the last second by his opposite number.
Samarge Harris, and Harris back there playing excellent defense right now. Man, looks like he's really come to play tonight already with an interception. No doubt. I'm just surprised that Coach Swain, he's airing it out, and you see here has no problems putting it out there. And as you mentioned, he's got this young man who he thought he wasn't even going to have to play tonight, and Marcus Allen coming in and getting the ball thrown his way twice, quick and early here.
Well, that's a big chance, but especially with Ocean League action opening up next week. But you know what? You gotta do it on the.
He's rolling the dice.
Got to roll the dice on the crosstown rivalry game. That's for sure.
Looks like he's checking off.
It's his 4th down and 4 yards to go, 3 yards to go. Yes, it is. Big 4th down play.
Nothing. Oh, my goodness. We've got a host of tacklers in there again. That play looked like it was busted up from the beginning. Had no way of going.
You got to run when you think they're going to pass, and you got to pass when you think they're going to run. And in this case, I think Hawthorne played right into the Leuzinger's defense strategy. It was 4th and about 4, and they tried to run the ball when they've been getting 3 or 4 or 5 yards off the sidelines with those quick passes to the end. I don't understand why they didn't do it that time.
Well, Ronald Battle got his finger on the runner and refused to turn him loose. Made the big stop in the backfield before he could get going.
Tolliver on a wide receiver screen, and this one looks like a good one as Kemp, and he's knocked out of bounds at about the 34-yard line. So a big gain for Leuzinger on that design play.
That time Leuzinger came out with an empty set, no running backs in the backfield, 5 wide receivers, 3 to the wide side, and they took advantage of the short side of the field here. It's kind of a screen where they let the defensive line through, and now he's got a wall of blockers in front of him.
Tolliver had about 4 offensive linemen in front of him, and some reason he stepped back and looked like he had plenty of time to get back and run a lot further, but got caught.
17-yard gain. Now it's a running play, getting to the 30-yard line, and getting down to the 10-yard line is Joshua Brown.
Brown running hard tonight, something we didn't see him do against that Legacy team a couple of weeks ago. No doubt Coach Tolliver's got him playing a lot better.
So a 21-yard gain.
You can see
down
his,
inside the 10-yard line.
I'm sorry, excuse me there. Leuzinger running the ball off the spread on a dive, and again, their offensive line with such a dominating push on the offensive line and big yardage coming on that run.
So a nice tackle on the play by Eddie Duncan, saving a touchdown. Out of the shotgun comes Leuzinger, looking to score again. Knock on the door, and this one is short.
Kemp
behind.
almost was able to pull that in with one hand, similar to one of those catches we saw at Legacy a few weeks ago. Pass a little behind him over the wrong shoulder, and I'm sure they'd like to, or I'm sure Tolliver would like to have that ball back again.
And once you know it, they're yelling for Rufus here. Rufus Washington is a beloved person here, and all three of us guys here cannot fill the shoes of Rufus Washington in his 20th year here at Channel 22 Sports.
Can't touch that, and no doubt we can understand why he's so beloved, and hopefully he'll be back real soon to join you here in the booth.
As Rasaki Hilt has it and goes right up the middle, almost like he was walking down the red carpet. Touchdown, Leuzinger.
I can't tell you how impressed I am with this young man and the way he runs the ball. Runs it with a lot of conviction, and that was something we noticed in the game against Legacy. You see the handoff on the inside here, right up the gut. That offensive line has just opened up a hole. My goodness, I believe, Mike, you and I could have walked through that line.
As you can see, it's a trap, and he's just following his blockers, and that hole is, you're right, that hole is big enough where you and I could have ran through and scored.
I think we could have walked through that and had Lou to escort us through there.
Kick is up, and a nice high kick by Gerast, and that is good to make the score 20-0 in favor of Leuzinger in the Mayor's Cup.
I don't know who I'm the happiest for, whether I'm happy for Rasaki Hilt or for Gerast. I'm just ecstatic to see him make 2 kicks in a row here. Maybe he's off the schneid here now and can impress me with some of these kicks going the rest of the season.
I think at this point, Hawthorne needs to just hold on to the ball. They need to get themselves 12, 13 plays where they execute, take advantage of what the Olympians are giving them, be patient, and try to get themselves back into this ball game.
The 4-play drive was capped off by Rasaki Hilt, a 9-yard run, his second touchdown of the game. 54 seconds. That's all it took. And a 51-yard drive. So back to receive the kick is Eddie Ficklin and Denzel Idris. This will probably do it for the first quarter.
Well, I'm sure it's not too soon for Coach Swain. Down 20-0 already. I'm sure this is not what he had anticipated. With these kids knowing each other so well, you would think you could almost throw any records out the way, and let them play ball.
As Ficklin gives it to Idris. Idris across the 15-yard line and underneath the blue wave.
Boy, I tell you, number 5, Oscar Aravello, took a shot. He was trying to open up a hole for the ball carrier. You see him here. You can see it in the replay. Watch number 5. He's just at the beginning. Ooh, Kavienga just laid the wood to him. And I think he'll maybe be, Coach, let me play on the outside next time on that lineup.
Man. Well, this first quarter is in the books, and let's see if we can't take a quick timeout. 20-0 is the score in the Mayor's Cup. And we'll be back on Channel 22 Sports. First and 10 for the Cougars, and another penalty. As over on the far side, it was Filippo Moala and David Castellanos.
Well, let's see who this penalty is going to go against. It looks like both teams now about even in the penalties. Legal procedure is going to go against Hawthorne.
Okay. And does Rashawn have a report? Yes, he does. Let's go downstairs.
Thanks, guys. Well, here it is, boys. This is the Mayor's Cup. And tonight, of course, is the battle for the Mayor's Cup. Hawthorne has not won this since 2001. It's been in possession of Leuzinger since then. our buddy Paris right behind me. It's her job to watch the Mayor's Cup. She's supposed to keep an eye on it. She was so gracious to let us hold it for a couple of seconds. Last year, Leuzinger was able to knock off Hawthorne by a score of 42-7. They pounded the Hawthorne defense with a running game to a tune of 372 yards. Mark Rogers, the great Mark Rogers, of course, 326 of those yards and 3 touchdowns en route to a Leuzinger victory. Leuzinger tonight looking to retain the Mayor's Cup, already up 20-0. We're just now starting the second quarter. Back upstairs to you.
Thank you very much, Rashawn. And another illegal procedure penalty will make it 2nd down and 20.
That was the same penalty on the same players, 2 consecutive plays.
Well, there is a good shot of Coach Tolliver, and I'm sure he's happy to see that penalty against somebody else besides him for a while. Because I tell you, the way this game opened up, Leuzinger came out with about 2 or 3 quick penalties, and now it seems like Hawthorne's caught the bug, and they've reversed the good fortunes, shooting themselves in the foot, and Coach Swain is, I'm sure if he's got any hair left over there, he's just about pulled it out.
That's right. Guns and penalties don't mix.
No, they don't.
As Ficklin gets the ball on the option, Ficklin gets up to the original line of scrimmage and gains a net. So it'll be 3rd down and about 8 yards to go. Now they're going to mark it at the 20. So it'll be 3rd down and 10.
Lou, that time they faked the running play to the halfback, and the receiver, number 1, comes around on an end around, kind of a reverse kind of deal to the wide side of the field, and he got a nice block from his receiver right there and sprung him for a good 11-yard gain, 12-yard gain. It's a nice call that time by the Cougars.
One of the better plays for the Hawthorne Cougars so far. The only thing that I didn't like, and I hate to be such a pessimistic person, but I like to see that running back turn it back up in. There was no need for him to go out of bounds there. But I guess from some of the punishment they've been taking from this defense from Leuzinger, maybe it might have been the best thing to do.
I was just going to say probably 2 words, Auna Kavienga. That's why.
There it is. Oh!
Ball is lost again. And let's see if it's picked up by Hawthorne. Yes, it is.
They're going to call that a fumble.
Ratu Lasike picks up the ball for Hawthorne, saving their bacon. But what a monster hit again by the Leuzinger defense.
And you'll see number 7, Samarge Harris, might come in and make this big stop.
Yeah, that's the kind of play any defensive back waits for on a cover 2. He made a perfect read and timed it perfectly and just put his helmet right where it needed to be. And when you do a textbook tackle like that, the ball's definitely going to pop out.
That's the key word, textbook tackle. That's exactly what you just saw. And any young kid who's watching tonight, that's the way you make a tackle. Wrap him up.
Marcus Allen better not worry about his foot. He better worry about his neck and the whiplash. Hinton back to pass down the middle, caught by the big tight end, Artis Perry. No flags, 1st down, Hawthorne.
I like the way you say that. No flags, 1st down. It's getting to be an event when there's not a flag out there on the field, but no doubt. I've been wondering why he hasn't been going to this big tight end Perry. Looks like a big, strong runner, something they need to do maybe a little bit more often over the middle.
That's right. Those times the linebackers flew to the running backs coming out of the backfield, and the tight end just snuck in for a nice pickup.
And Artis will punish you on the way down. 1st and 10 at the 35-yard line, throwing on the out, and this one was batted away. 2nd and 10.
Looked like number 44, Brandon Downs, who was in their backfield there of the Hawthorne Cougars, got his big paw up there and knocked that ball down. Let's see if we can see it again. Right on the top of your screen there, look at the paw come up. I believe that's number 44, Brandon Downs, in there to stop that.
Hinton is 6 out of 13. Check that, 6 out of 14. And 1 interception.
Those numbers don't sound too good, Lou.
Well, all things considered.
This is a big play for Hawthorne's offense right here. 2nd and 10, midfield. You want to give your team a little confidence. This is a big play.
2nd and 10. Defense is moving around for the Olympians. Running play, look out! And that's going to be a flag as Otis Jones decapitated the running back coming across. That was Marcus Allen.
I mean, don't these gentlemen have chin straps on? That helmet Good thing his head wasn't in that.
That's some old school football right there, right? Back in the 50s and 60s, there would be no penalty on this play. Unfortunately, these days, that'll
That's
mark
right.
you 15 yards.
That would, yeah, the old days when they said no compound fracture, no penalty.
Hey, no blood, no foul.
So that one is a personal foul on Leuzinger and Otis Jones.
You can see on the replay right there, it's a bit of a draw play. And, that time, number 51, Chris Jones just didn't let go when he got in there and grabbed the face mask and the helmet right off of Hawthorne's running back.
Marcus Allen ducked, and what are you going to do? Handoff goes to Allen again. Allen spins around and gets towards midfield. And a gain of about 2.
This is the third first down for the Hawthorne Cougars on this drive. They're doing exactly what they need to do, and that's keep the ball away from the Olympian offense. So hopefully Hawthorne can sustain this drive.
Let's go down to Beto Duran.
Thanks, Lou. You notice that wristband around my calf? I'm violating CIF rules. I guess you can't have any kind of wristbands on your legs or above the elbows. This right here, this wristband on my elbow, was told to be taken off by Marcus Allen. Right before that series, Allen had to come rushing off the field. Already has a hairline fracture, told he can't play because he has wristbands around his calves. Back to you, Lou.
Well, the CIF and the NCAA and the NFL have strict rules, I guess. And here comes the reverse. Ficklin gets the handoff from Allen. Some blocking by Hinton. And out of bounds on the near sideline is Ficklin. And let's see if he got a favorable spot inside the 45-yard line. So it'll be third down and short, possibly a first down. Let's see where the spot is, fellas.
Again, a little disappointed that he decided to get out of bounds when he knew he needed to pick up the first down. And looks like he's going to be coming up just a little bit short. And had he stayed in bounds, put his head down, and decided to take it upfield, might have been able to pick up the first down. Let's see here on the reverse if that might have been the case. It looked good on the onset. Just right here, a little hesitation. Didn't know what he wanted to do, decided to take it out of bounds. And had he cut back, have no doubts he'd have been able to pick up that first down. Let's see if it's going to hurt them.
Third and a long one. We'll call it 2 after the 6-yard gain by Ficklin on the reverse. Out of the eye, underneath center is Hinton. Hinton gives it to the fullback, and that is Aravello. Aravello bowls his way towards the first down marker.
I think he's going to come up a little short here, Lou. They may have to bring out the chains to check this one out, but my poor eyesight, I'm thinking they're coming up just a little bit short.
How's it look from your angle, Mike?
I say he's got the first down.
Okay.
By the nose of the ball.
I think by the hair of its chinny chin.
They're not even getting a measurement off of this.
They're going to call it fourth down, Mike. I believe you're going to be wrong. I'm on one up on you here.
Fourth and a yard to go.
And it looks like they're going to go for it, Lou.
They have to. Down 20-0, 8:55 clock rolling. Aravello with a nice run, but not enough. That was his first carry. So Hinton trying to get it on the sneak, but instead of following his center, he stood up. Now let's see if Leuzinger held on fourth down.
Oh yeah, I believe they did, Coach. That offensive line got no push, and when you can't get the push, knowing the snap count, knowing the count, there's no reason for you to at least get some momentum going. That offensive line for Hawthorne didn't come off with any zeal, and I think they're going to be shut down here. Leuzinger ball first and 10.
Yeah, we may have a measurement here, fellas. Renard and Mike. And referee Johnson says that's what he's going to do.
All right, he's going to call. All right, Mike, here's a chance to get even. What's the call?
First down.
Say again.
First down.
First down,
That's
Mike said.
Let's
see here, Lou.
I won't say for who.
All right, let's see the
He's
camera
going to come
angle.
up short. Oh, he's going to be. Get out the way,
Can't
Rip.
tell.
He's
No,
short.
first
oh,
down.
got it. There you go.
By the
All
nose.
right. Mike's back in the game.
That was a generous spot by the referee, by the way.
That's okay.
I agree, Mike.
Hawthorne gets the first down.
And they needed that, Lou. I don't know. That was a huge first down. Had they not gotten that first down, going on 4th and 1, I think that might have been, again, one of those momentum breakers, and no doubt would have really crushed a lot of these guys' energy and eagerness.
So a big fourth down play for the Cougars, who trailed 20-0. 8:20 left to go in the first half. Casillas, the center, leads him out of the huddle. Hinton has Marcus Allen right behind him. Hinton looking down the middle, throws down the middle, and the intended receiver was Artis Perry. Raynard Westbrook with a pass defense, our mascot.
I like that name, but I tell you, he's starting to look in Perry's direction a little bit more. And I'm surprised that he still tried to force it in there. As you'll see on the replay, he had two defenders there. There was no real reason. He had Allen out there swinging left, and there he is trying to force it. I don't know who was that intended for.
That was intended for Ray on the other side there. And his family is here. Russell, who's now a sophomore, point guard, shooting guard for UCLA. Mom and Dad Westbrook are here. And they wanted us to say hello to everybody. And Ray doing his business out there at the linebacker position.
Look good on that play.
Marcus Allen doing his business. Gets a first down, caught from his shirt tail behind, and not until he gets a first down at about the 31-yard line.
Rosaki Hilt got his fingers in his jersey and was able to hold him up for the rest of the team to get there and put him on the floor, on the ground.
That wasn't the first time Hawthorne made that call, but it's the first time it gained substantial yardage for the offense. It's kind of a quick pitch option kind of play out to the outside, and this time Marcus Allen was able to get a running start, and he just carried the ball for a big first down for the Cougars.
Nice drive being put together by the Cougars, Raynard.
Let me correct myself. That was Raynard Westbrook that had his finger in there on Allen.
He's getting some good time there. Now we have another reverse and a flag. We haven't seen one for a long time. Idris with the carry, and he's going to get a loss on that one. But let's see what the flag's all about.
Well, it looks like Leuzinger's seen that reverse once or twice now, and doesn't look like it's going to work anymore.
Yeah, you know, those plays usually work against a really aggressive team, and Leuzinger definitely came out really aggressive, and that's why you saw the Cougars getting big yardage on those misdirection plays, the reverses and whatnot. Now, Leuzinger, learning from plays prior to this, they've learned to sit back a little bit, see the play develop and react as opposed to overreacting initially.
Well, the pursuit by Leuzinger has just been outstanding the entire evening. I've really been impressed with the defense. Certainly, Coach Tolliver's got them playing, no doubt, some of the best ball of the season thus far. And I tell you, the defense being led by Kavi Inga is really playing well tonight.
Well, there was a 2-yard loss. A holding call was declined by Leuzinger. They'd take the down instead.
Let's see what Coach Swain can come up with here to try to pick up a first down and keep this ball.
And Campos now at quarterback for Hinton, and a timeout called by Hawthorne.
Apparently Coach Swain didn't like what he saw, and he knows, I think, how big this drive is here. With 6 minutes left, a little bit over and some change, he needs to get some points on the board to try to have something to talk about at halftime, to try to get this team fired up.
Now, the first drive, the Cougars made it to the 20 before an interception. And then they were down inside the 48-yard line, had to turn it over. That led to a score. And now they're down at the 33-yard line, so their second best penetration of the night for the Cougars.
But can they do anything with it? And this is where it gets tough. Every time they start to seem to build some momentum, a penalty or a turnover gets in the way and kills the drive, and that's very common. And that's the thing that both of these coaches, I'm sure, want to make sure that their teams are aware of, is that especially when we get on the other man's side of the field, we've got to protect and take care of the ball.
Yeah, Leuzinger's defense at this point, they're bringing up an outside linebacker, number 1, Nicholas Huyufa, and making the 5th man on the line of scrimmage. And it's really taking away a lot of the perimeter running plays away from Hawthorne.
Second down and 11 yards to go from the 32-yard line. Hawthorne with the ball. Man in motion is Idris. Idris, though, as the ball is handed off to the fullback, Aravalo, and he does gain some yardage.
That was a real nice effort on that particular play. He took a 2-3 yard loss and made it into a 7-yard gain.
And that was an all Oscar Arivello run. Let me tell you, because that play was busted in the backfield. Looked like Noel Campos couldn't figure out who to give the ball to. Finally got it into the hands of the big fullback. And like you say, he made all of that on his own.
He did a lot of that against Legacy, and don't know what he did against Norco, but he was impressive against Legacy of Colorado when we saw them last. 5:58, clock rolling, left in the first half. Down 20-0, Hawthorne with the ball. Ball is handed off to Idris. Idris driving towards the 20-yard line where he needs to go for a first down. And let's see where the spot is. This is going to be another close call.
Again, I think it's going to come up just a little bit short. And again, might be another cause for Coach Swain to come up with a big play here to keep this ball.
Yeah, you're in four-play territory now, down by 20 points. Fourth down on the 22-yard line.
Let's see what Coach Swain's got in his playbook here at we'll call it 4th and 2.
4th and 2, 4th and a long 1 at the 19-yard line. Check that, that's at the 21-yard line. Arivello, did he get the ball again, or was that Campos?
Looks like Campos on a keep.
Gets to the 20-yard line, but let's see. No one's moving yet.
Looks like the offense for Leuzinger coming out on the field. No, they say he got the first down.
Yeah, they had to get to at least the 20-yard line on that one for a first down, so Hawthorne gets another set of downs.
Well, you see the offense coming back off of the field. They were really thinking that first down did not happen for Hawthorne.
Wow.
Well, that's wishful thinking.
2 in a row for Coach Swain and the Cougars from Hawthorne, so maybe they're getting something going here now. As I mentioned, they really need to put some points up here. 4:45 and the clock is running, and I know Coach Swain would love nothing more than to get some points on this drive.
As Hawthorne brings the ball out, Hinton back in at quarterback. Or is that Hinton? No, that's still Campos in there. Hands the ball off again. No, keeps the ball. Campos up the middle.
He fumbled it. He fumbled the ball. Looks like 51 with the ball.
And that's Otis Jones. Otis Jones still on his feet. Otis Jones to the 35-yard line. Oh, my goodness. You know, I had a feeling in my bones something was going to happen there to Hawthorne that deep. And unfortunately, the ball spills out of Campos' hands, and big Otis Jones gets the ball back.
Well, not that it matters at this level, but I wonder if the replay showed if he was down when he fumbled the ball. I'm not sure we were able to get that or not, but it looked from my vantage point that he was down. As you can see, he kept the ball. It was a good call. It was a good play. He had the first down, and as you can see, he's on his back, but you can't see the ball pop out. There's from another angle. Oh, by that time, we already have the ball established in the Leuzinger. And that's a lineman's dream right there, huh?
Yeah, it's a nightmare if you can't run those 30 yards. And the Olympians hand the ball off. Good defensive play. As that was Joshua Brown for about a yard. Let's go down to Beto Duran.
All game we've seen Cougar running back Marcus Allen, number 7, lined up as a receiver. More of as a decoy. He's playing with that fractured big right toe. Coach Swain said he was deliberately trying to keep Allen out of the action. Didn't want to aggravate that toe injury as they head into Ocean League action. Allen, on the flip side, keeps coming over to the sideline telling the coaches, give me the ball. He wants to carry the ball and be the premier running back for the Cougars. Back to you, Lou.
Thanks a lot, Beto. And another penalty by the Cougars trying to time that snap again. They should just let the play develop.
Frank Johnson is really getting a workout tonight. That whole entire officiating crew out of the South Bay, and I'm sure they don't see these kind of games, I hope, too often, because we're going to have to use both of our hands and toes to count up all the penalties here at halftime.
Yeah, you might have to have rotator cuff surgery, as Tolliver is going to be sacked behind the line of scrimmage, and you have to give an assist on that one to the Hawthorne secondary. Good coverage downfield.
Definitely a coverage sack, but you also have to you have to question Leuzinger's play calling at this point. They're going for the throat. They're looking to knock Hawthorne out right now. They're not trying to sit on the ball, let the time expire. They're looking to score and score quick.
Joshua Mills was the first to get in there to slow up Tolliver, and then Adrian Lopez came in to help finish and clean it all up. No doubt that was the first sack of the game I have unofficially for the Hawthorne Cougars. And, well, I tell you, I feel so sorry for Coach Swain. He's got to be about ready to kill himself over there with these turnovers.
Now Kemp gets the swing pass out in the flats.
He's gone.
Kemp gets by everybody. Down to the 20, 10, 5. Touchdown, Leuzinger.
Holy cow. I wish I could get a shot of Coach Swain over there right about now. He has got to be just beside himself. His team has just not gotten it done. But we got a flag on the field. They're bringing it back, Lou.
Oh, my goodness. A 56-yard touchdown scamper, catch and scamper. Could it be brought back?
Don't shoot yourself yet, Coach Swain. It's coming back.
That was a nice call that time by Coach D on the offense for Leuzinger. Kind of another bubble screen. They throw it out to the wide receiver, but he catches the ball behind the line of scrimmage, so technically it's a screen. As you can see, number 5 working his way back to the line of scrimmage, catches it behind the line of scrimmage. The offensive line lets that defensive line through, and he's got nothing but a wall of blockers in front of him. Unfortunately, they called that play back.
The penalty was
well
a push in the
executed.
back, and there, I'm sorry, a push in the back, and it looks like right there, number 4, and that's Kavienga.
Yep. Kavienga
Got his hand
pushing.
caught in the cookie jar and cost his team a touchdown.
And that one's called back, so a big penalty.
Tough break for Coach Tolliver.
As Kemp, did he catch it? He did. From the 48-yard line down to the 40-yard line of Hawthorne.
Nice catch there by Kemp. Was able to get back and help his quarterback as that ball was a little underthrown. You can see Tolliver dropping back here, looking for Kemp all of the way. And the ball is short. Kemp having to come back, and ooh, that looked like he might have got a little grass there, Mike.
Yep.
Yeah, but you know what?
No instant replay here.
And a little shovel pass as Rasaki Hilt was already in the arms of Tomasi Nayeta.
And Joshua Mills in there also to help from the Hawthorne Cougars, and that's one of the few stands on defense we've seen them just really with no positive offense or no positive rush on the part of the Leuzinger Olympians.
That time right there, Thomas in the right place at the right time. Right on the Leuzinger running back as he caught that shovel pass.
So it is 2nd down and 10 for Tolliver. Gives it off to Rasaki on the handoff, and maybe. Yep.
You
Didn't
see
even
these.
get back to the line of scrimmage. So good defense. The Cougars are fired up.
You see these high school offenses going more and more to the spread offense, looking like the University of Florida these days with those spread dive option plays. Get a lot of yards off those plays, though.
Under a minute left to go in the first half. 3rd down and 10 for the Olympians. Pass downfield is almost caught on a nice catch as coming back to get the ball. Deshaun Mills had to do a pirouette to almost bring that one in.
Tolliver again a little short on the throw, and again off of the wrong shoulder forced the receiver to have to try to readjust himself to get to the ball, as you see here, and just wasn't able to get himself around to put his hands on the ball like he needed to bring it down.
Well,
Just a little behind him.
Actually, it looked like the receiver looked the wrong way. On those corner routes, like you said, they want to go to the outside. He turned inside. The ball was on the outside. And there you had the pair.
They're going for it on 4th and looks like about 9 or 10.
4th and 10 with 43 seconds left to go. Tolliver throws it downfield for Kemp and throws it away.
Well, Kemp looked like he didn't think Tolliver could make that reach. He just pulled up about 10 yards short. And I'm sure Tolliver's wondering why you didn't take it to the end zone. I was looking for you.
41 seconds left to go in the first half, so it was a good move by Glenn Tolliver, the quarterback, and Coach Tolliver of the the Olympians just to do that and give the Cougars the ball with less than a minute to go. And 60 yards to gain for a touchdown.
You have to kind of wonder whether he was going for the jugular or he was trying to really help Coach Swain and say, well, you know, if we hit it, good. If we don't, you know, we're not rubbing it in. So a couple of ways to look at that.
Out of the shotgun is Campos, still in at quarterback for Hawthorne. Looks downfield, has a man, and went off with the helmet of the defender downfield. As the ball was intended for Anderson Bird, and defending on the play was DeJohn Washington.
Bird looked like he was going to be able to get his hands on that and bring it down, but looks like just a hit by the defender, just enough to throw him off.
It was a nice pass that time, right on the money. Looks like he just jumped a little too early, and as a result, couldn't have the hang time to make the catch.
Nice defensive play by Deshaun Mills, because clearly had he given up on it, I think Bird would have been able to bring that down.
Mills did a great job defending because he didn't let his receiver get beyond him for the touchdown with under a minute left to go in the half.
And that's basic football. That's one of the things you really, I'm sure Coach Swain as well as Coach Tolliver trying to get these kids to understand.
Back to pass, throws it down on the timing route again. And Samaje Harris was the closest man there. Eddie Fitkin was the man the ball was intended to go to.
Well, it doesn't seem like either of these teams are shy with throwing it down the field, airing it out, and just looking to hit one big play, looks like.
24 seconds left. You have third down. These pass patterns, incomplete passes, stop the clock. Now, you throw two passes right away, you're leaving enough time in the clock for Leuzinger to get the ball back and take another shot at the end zone.
That's right, third down and 10, and you're inside your own end. You need to get at least a first down here at midfield. As the moon comes up over Olympian Gym and the torch, just a beautiful sight. And a beautiful fall night here in Lawndale for the Mayor's Cup.
Whoa.
Campos, look out, gets it to Marcus Allen. Allen gets lassoed from behind by Auna Kavienga.
Well, that UCLA-bound young man is really, again, making himself well known tonight. Big game for him. He's been all over the field. It looks like we've got a timeout down on the field.
Well, it's a fourth down now. What do you do, Coach Mark?
Well, I'll
Coach
tell
Mike?
you what. Leuzinger stopped the clock because they want another shot at the end zone, whether it be on the punt return play or a quick fair catch and a pass pattern. But either way, you know, you think maybe Leuzinger might have their punt block team on or punt return on, but they stopped the clock with the intention of scoring again.
Ronnie Estrada will be the man kicking. And there's Mr. Moon.
Moon over Miami. Oh, I'm sorry, over Hawthorne.
Lawndale.
Lawndale, Leuzinger, somewhere in here.
Moon over the Mayor's Cup. How about that?
There you go.
Actually, the moon's over all of that.
Oscar Aravallo will be punting the ball, but Hawthorne.
And
now
I believe
wants
this will be the first punt of the night for Hawthorne, if that is what they do, in fact.
I think it's the first punt of the game.
Indeed, you're right. 2-minute turnovers.
Now, Hawthorne has had the ball for 11 minutes and 48 seconds. And then some.
And can't produce.
And you know, I think the score indicates just what a high-powered offense Leuzinger has in terms of how quick they can score. And you saw that last week against Norco, where they virtually won the game in the final minutes of the game. You know, they were down and they came back. So Leuzinger, a lot of weapons.
It looks like Deshaun Mills is going to drop back for this kick, and I'm sure he would love nothing more than to be able to tack one on right here for his fellow Olympians and really put a stake in that Mayor's Cup.
And last time we saw Deshaun Mills at Orange Coast College.
Oh.
Look out.
I believe he got a piece of that.
But it takes a Hawthorne bounce, and it'll be down at the 40-yard line. But we do have a penalty flag. Are we going to have a roughing the kicker call?
Let's see. Yes, personal foul, roughing the kicker, but I thought he got a piece of that. Maybe we can see in the replay, because that ball looked like somebody got a hand on it. And that would nullify the roughing the kicker call. Let's see if we can see it here. All right. Boy, too close to tell from this angle, but man, how could he have not hit it for it to come such a short distance? It's like Hawthorne is, like there's a conference on the field now. Coach Tolliver and out there meeting with the officials. There's the mayor from Hawthorne.
Larry Guidi. Excuse me. Got to get that consonant out of there.
So I guess they're calling the
guess
no. Can't end on a penalty.
It's going to be first down Hawthorne inside of Leuzinger territory.
It's there's no time on the clock, but you can't end on a defensive penalty.
That's right.
So we got one more play.
So the ball will be marked at the 48-yard line, 47-yard line.
Let me take a guess. Oh, it looks like they're going to kneel down, but I was thinking they were going to air it out.
Yeah, let's just take everything out of the equation. Just go to the locker room, raise the flag, and go in there and start all over. So that'll end the first half of play with Leuzinger leading Hawthorne 20-0 in the Mayor's Cup. And fellas, your impressions, Mike?
Well, in spite of the score, Hawthorne's had two formidable possessions where they could have scored. And both times they've ended up in turnovers. One, an interception, the other, a fumble. If you take those two, and of course it's an if you take those two mistakes out, the game's a lot closer. However, Leuzinger showing that they can score in very few plays.
Well, as Mike mentioned, it just boils down to turnovers and penalties. And clearly Leuzinger has had the best of it at this point, but both teams have done nothing to help themselves as much as I'm sure they would like to. And I can only imagine at halftime, Coach Swain and Coach Tolliver, they both have a lot to talk about. For Hawthorne, taking care of the ball. Turnovers have hurt them tremendously. As you mentioned, Mike, 3 turnovers on 3 drives, and that's clearly has shot themselves in the foot, and that's why they have nothing. On the other hand, Leuzinger, a couple of big plays, and there they are with 3 touchdowns.
That's right, 20-0 is the score. And before we start the third quarter, Beto Duran and Rashawn Haylock will check in with reports. But first, we'll take this time out, and you see the score right there on Channel 22 Sports. Coming up, but right now, Beto Duran has a report on the Hawthorne Cougars.
Just spoke with Hawthorne coach James Swain. He said his team is still upbeat. They might be down 20 points at the half to Leuzinger, but it's still the Mayor's Cup. Got to get upbeat for the big crosstown rivalry. He said the biggest thing they need to do, get into the end zone. If they can get into the Olympians' end zone, their mentality and psyche will completely change. We'll have some adjustments. They didn't want to tell me what they were. Marcus Allen will still continue to run the ball for the Cougars. Back up to you, Lou.
All right, thank you very much. Beto Duran is, well, getting in the end zone. That sounds simple, but against this Leuzinger defense and penalties and turnovers, Mike, that's harder than it sounds.
It is, but you saw a little bit at the end of the half where Hawthorne was able to pull a drive off all the way from the 3-yard line down to scoring position.
Let's go down to Rashawn Haylock.
Thanks a lot, guys. Talked to Coach T just right before this half got started, and he said the thing that he was concerned about the most was the penalties. Playing against a team like Hawthorne, a team in which there's no surprise they should be in command of this game, but they have more penalties than Hawthorne. He said they need to stop the penalties, especially the 15-yard penalties that they gave up in that first half. Also, he thinks it's just more or less nerves and jitters and them just being extremely hyped up to be playing their first home game in front of their home crowd. I asked him if he thought the bye week had anything to do with it. He said no, the bye week, he didn't think the bye week had anything to do with it. This isn't the things that they were doing against Norco. He thought it was more or less just them being maybe too anxious, too overzealous to be playing at home. But look for them to correct those mistakes here in the second half. Send it back upstairs to you.
Abner Vega with the big kickoff, and here comes Leuzinger tromping up the field. beyond the 20, 30-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Olympians in the 3rd quarter.
And that's Justin Kemp bringing the ball back out to the 35-yard, 34, we'll say. And, you know, just tagging on to what they were talking about, talking to Coach Tolliver. He said that they have, and indeed they do have, more penalties than Hawthorne. I unofficially have it 13-10 in penalties, and I can't believe that either one of these coaches can believe that they're going to have much success with that going on all night tonight. 13-10 in penalties sounds like a football score.
It looks like we got a stop in the action. Hawthorne
like,
calling timeout.
We've got a
Apparently,
timeout already.
They didn't have enough players on the field, or they just didn't line up well against the Olympian spread offense. That time the Olympians came out with 4 wide receivers and a single back off the shotgun. And again, maybe just caught the Cougars off guard to begin the 2nd half.
Well, let's go over some very unofficial numbers. Glenn Tolliver in the passing department, 4 out of 8 for 40 yards and a touchdown. In the rushing department, Rasaki Hilt 5 rushes for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. Joshua Brown 3 rushes for 31 yards. In the receiving department, Kemp 2 catches for 40 yards, and Mills 1 catch for 7 yards and a touchdown, and Tolliver was sacked once.
And Leuzinger with 13 penalties and Hawthorne with 10 penalties unofficially. And I just can't stop harping on the penalties, because clearly Leuzinger is going to look back and wonder why they didn't have more points. And then here we can start off with another penalty before we can even get the first play of the game in the 2nd half.
Noel Campos walks in offside.
Well, looks like same game, same thing again. Penalties just been the theme of the game. Let's see if Leuzinger can get something going here, and no doubt this would be a big momentum boost. And we've already got number 90. Looks like the outside linebacker there, Ratu Lasiki, just a little too eager to get in there and start this 2nd half.
Well, it looks like going on 2. The 2 count seems to be a good play in the Leuzinger offensive playbook this evening.
Well, it should be a 1st down. 2 + 5 is 10. And there you see the 2 mayors, Mayor Hoffman of Lawndale and Mayor Guidi of Hawthorne. Are they going to arm wrestle? And there we go again, another offside penalty on the outside linebacker. This one was Taniela Lolohea.
Well, that's 3 penalties here, and we haven't even got the first playoff in the 2nd half yet. My goodness.
Well, I'm sure this isn't what Coach Swain talked about in the locker room.
I can't believe that's what he talked about.
And we have a new quarterback. It's Deshaun Burton, but I haven't had a chance to introduce him yet because we've had 3 penalties to lead this 3rd quarter off.
Well, if he had any early game jitters, or I should say we got another. Is this going to be a delay?
Could be a delay. So this one's going to go back 5 yards.
I mean, we've had 4 penalties. The clock is at 11:49.
Stuck.
And that's all of just off of the 2nd half kickoff.
So back to the 45-yard line. Heck, the officials, they lost a yard somewhere. It should be at the 44-yard line.
That's true.
Confusion going,
I guess
15 up and 5 back.
Lost track there is Burton with the first handoff.
Hands it off to
Mitchell.
Mitchell with his first carry of the game. And boy, he busts out a big one all the way to the 30-yard line of the Cougars.
Well, that young man looks like he wants to run here in the 2nd half. Didn't see him much in the 1st half. Had a big game against Legacy a couple of weeks ago, and he's back on track here tonight. Looks like he wants to pick up where he left off.
So Mitchell and Burton, the new backfield for Leuzinger.
So what do you think Coach Tolliver's doing with this new backfield he's coming out here with in the 2nd half?
Mitchell started on the defensive end playing cornerback, and now he's getting some offensive time.
3 wide receivers to the near side. Another flag on the play as the pass is short to Kemp. And let's see what this flag is all about.
I give up. I think I've used all of my choices. There's a procedure call.
Now that was from pretty far away, that flag.
That one was a hard one to call, as you mentioned. That flag came a little late, came from, looks like came from the side judge. And I'm just betwixt in between of all of these calls. What's that, the fourth penalty here in the second half? And we've had how many, 2 offensive plays? 5. My.
5 penalties in this drive alone.
The Olympians are netting yardage with all these mistakes. They started their drive 30 yards downfield, and on mistakes have gained some substantial yardage.
Out of the shotgun is Burton. 2 wide receivers on either side. Mitchell gets it. Mitchell spins away from a tackler. Now is caught from behind and drugged down. About a 2-yard gain on the play for Deshaun Mitchell.
Looked like he was going to be able to get something going there as he spun and avoided the first would-be tackler, but couldn't get enough energy and mustered up to get away from the second, and got caught behind the line. And looks like, well, they're still down. Look like going to be about second, and we'll call it a 12.
So a 3-yard gain for Mitchell, down to the 32-yard line.
There's Adrian Lopez in there to finish up the tackle.
Hinton throws it long, and is it intercepted? It looks like it is intercepted by the Cougars. Eddie Ficklin with the pickoff.
So Burton gets his first turnover at the quarterback helm, and I'm wondering if Coach Tolliver decided he would give his second-string players a little bit of playing time here in the second half, and I'm sure that's not what he had intended.
Well, in that particular replay angle, you can't see the number 1 receiver sitting on the sidelines all by himself. That time, the quarterback just made the wrong read. He had trips to the wide side, and he went for the big play instead of getting the yardage that the defense was giving him, and that he just made the wrong decision. Sophomore mistake. You can attribute that interception to just being young and eager.
So the ball is at the 12-yard line. Well, we'll call it the 11-yard line after the interception. And Hinton is back at the helm for the Cougars. Hands the ball off straight ahead. Not a whole lot, as that looks like Marcus Allen on the play. So Marcus Allen could get the bulk of the load here in the offense for the Cougars for the rest of the half, with 9:55 left in the third quarter.
Well, I guess Coach Swain's not so concerned about Allen's health in the weeks to come, as he was trying to save this young man for their Ocean League opener in a couple of weeks. I guess he figures he needs to get some offense from one of his truly best players on the team.
They'll try to get rid of that goose egg. Coming in, losing 3 in a row, 14 straight for the Cougars.
That's got to be pretty demoralizing, not only to him, but the entire team. And we've got a turnover in the backfield. Looks like a fumble. Might go to Leuzinger. They're coming up with it. Looks like Jones. Jones having a big game tonight. This young man, that's his second fumble recovery. And no doubt he's got to be feeling really good. And right now, my defensive player of the game.
Oh, no doubt. There's a lot of them. Kavianga's been busting heads, but Otis Jones has been coming up with the ball.
This young man has really had an eye for the ball tonight, and I don't know if his mother and father told him something before the game, but somebody gave him something to get him ready for tonight. There you can see the bad snap to the quarterback, ball on the ground, and Jones right there to pick it up. Good play by Jones. Didn't try to pick it up and run with it, just dropped right on it.
That'll be at the 5-yard line, 1st and goal for the Olympians in golden shape to take a larger lead, but Hawthorne being very stingy on defense on the first run. So is Una Kavianga, the fullback, trying to bull his way forward, but a good push up front by the Cougar defensive line.
Yeah, you can see on this replay, they gave it off to the dive man, and there's just a nice defensive play there by the interior lineman to stuff those 2 inside gaps.
We saw Coach Tolliver use Kavienga in the backfield against Legacy a couple of weeks ago and didn't find much success with it, but looks like Kavienga got in then, Lou.
He sure did. Gets in for the touchdown. Leuzinger makes it 26-0 at the 8:37 mark, and another turnover by Hawthorne is cashed in.
Well, the 225-pounder, he just hammered his way. Look at it, just ran right over that would-be tackler. Looks like number 22. That was Lopez, and just not enough meat to stop Kavienga. He was determined to get in, Mike.
Same play, this time to the left side. This time, touchdown for the Olympians.
And now Gerast will tack on the extra points, and when we do that, we'll go down to Rashawn Haylock after. It looks like they're going to go for two, fellas.
Indeed, trying to make up for that extra, I guess, or maybe a little practice here.
Coming back in is Tolliver. Tolliver pitches back to Kavenga. And it is good. So the two-point conversion is good. It's now 28-0. Let's go down to Rashawn Haylock. Well, Rashawn Haylock, will get back to him in just a second, as I know that he's waiting to give an update. And once we get ready for Rashawn, we'll go down there as Kavienga with a 4-yard run, and they go back to him for the two-point conversion. So Kavienga with the first 8 points of the game off of the turnover as a fumble was recovered by Otis Jones. Let's go downstairs.
Thanks, guys. Tayshawn Burton started the second half at quarterback for the Leuzinger Olympians in the second half. Not sure why, other than to say that this is something that they have done, they being Leuzinger, throughout the course of the season, getting Tayshawn in there to get some reps. However, when he threw that interception, several members of the offensive unit came off the field clearly upset, wondering why Tayshawn was in there as opposed to Glenn Tolliver. Coach Henderson, the offensive coordinator, had a couple words with big Coach Tolliver, and sooner or later, he turned around, looked at Glenn, told him to get back in the game, and there you have it. Leuzinger just got on the board once again. So we'll try to figure out some more about what's going on down here. As for right now, we'll send it back up to you.
All right, thank you very much, Rashawn Haylock, as Marcus Allen gets the kickoff and is pushed out of bounds at about the 16-yard line. Not good field position for the Cougars.
Well, I'm sure this is not one of the things, again, that Coach Swain wanted to do, but they found themselves deep in their own territory on a couple of previous drives in the first half. Were able to sustain them and get into Leuzinger territory, but as we alluded to, turnovers on 3 of the 4 trips down the field have cost them scores.
And, well, we could get close to a delay of game as the Cougar comes in to call the offense now. It is 28-0, 8:32 left to go. The Mayor's Cup firmly in the hands of the Olympians right now. Out of the shotgun is Hinton. Throws down the flat, and it is it a pickoff?
Yes.
Wow, took that one right off the shoe tops. That was Deshaun Mills.
And that was a beautiful, beautiful interception as he just grabbed it. I mean, looked like he just was right off of the ground almost as that ball was about to fall incomplete. Deshaun Mills staying with it and bringing it up for a big-time interception.
His second interception of the night, Mike.
Leuzinger now having the ball on the 25-yard line. They've been getting great field position courtesy of Hawthorne turnovers all night long.
Got a feeling Tolliver's going to go for the big one right quick. Let's see if I'm right here.
Well, why not? That's what they tell you to do, is go for it, but we have a flag on the far side.
Once again, the defensive line jumping offside.
I forgot to say after the penalty.
That'll be 5 yards shorter. So to the 20-yard line they go. There's number 90 over there, Ratu Lasike. Tried to walk in before the snap.
Well, I tell you, we'll see what they're going to do, whether or not this is going to change the offensive plans that they had 5 yards closer. Might decide not to go on top. Let's see if they are or not.
Tolliver back to pass, throws it on the screen. Kemp is caught by Marcus Allen and thrown down to the ground after no gain.
So Coach Tolliver decided for the quick hit across the middle, and the Cougars from Hawthorne were right on top of that one. going to have to come up with something else on this next play.
Well, we saw this play earlier in the first half, and it netted big yards for the Olympian offense. This time, the cornerback read it, came up hard, and made a nice play.
So it'll be third down, actually a loss of a yard on the play. In motion is Hiltz. Tolliver looking down the middle, throws down the middle, on the run, pass is incomplete as the pass was intended for Drake Jackson.
I don't believe you've called that name out tonight. It looks like Coach Tolliver's trying a few different wrinkles, maybe trying to get some of these younger players some reps, as Rashawn mentioned earlier down on the field. Trying to get these guys, I'm sure, ready for Bay League action in a couple of weeks. Had a man wide open on the top there, Mike.
Yeah, that's the second time and second drive that the offense has not made a good read. As you can see, Coach Henderson making the offensive calls for his quarterback.
Coach Henderson in his first year calling offensive plays, and on the blitz gets rid of it nicely. Pass is complete, but it'll be fourth down, and now a flag is thrown in by referee Johnson. Let's see if that's a face mask or something like that, personal foul.
Face mask, you're right, Lou.
Well, usually when the receiver gets up and he's a little ticked off, that means that someone got in his grill, literally.
Now that was a fourth down play, and it's going to make this now 1st and 10 inside, I believe, the 15.
Artis Perry getting the 15-yarder, they call it.
Ouch.
It didn't appear to be a 15-yarder.
I'm surprised they call that intentional. You see Frank Johnson there making the call. I think if I was Coach Tolliver now, I'd try my running game since the passing game is kind of not getting off the ground much here. See if I can't just punch it in.
So they're going to go to the running game. And now do we have the ball dropped?
Looked like Tolliver lost it in his attempt to try to wiggle out of that first would-be tackler. And the guys down there from Hawthorne scratching and clawing, trying to dig that ball out. They need a turnover here.
There's Mitchell trying to come up with the ball.
I think Mitchell may have been the one who came up with it. Let's see if the replay will show us. Tolliver trying to get out there on the outside. And no success as the ball comes out. Yes, that was a fumble.
Oscar.
And looks like Mitchell may have been the one to get up under that and get it.
Oscar Aravello digging it out. And we have a wounded Olympian down on the field.
And looks like the quarterback, Tolliver.
That's right. And while we hope that Glenn Tolliver's okay, let's go down to Beto Duran.
Guys, roaming these sidelines, you see a big difference. Leuzinger, their coaches are coaching strategy. On the Hawthorne side, they're coaching strategy and technique. Their coaches are telling the defensive players how to tackle and wrap up players. You got to remember, Hawthorne is one of the only schools in the area where they don't have a Pop Warner system feeding into the school. So that means when kids show up as 9th and 10th graders wanting to play, sometimes the first time they've ever seen pads in their life. Back to you, Lou.
All right, thank you very much, Beto Duran. That's an interesting tidbit there.
Let me jump in on what Beto was talking about, because as we were talking to Coach Swain at the pregame, he was telling me that that's one of the things that's really killing his program over at Hawthorne. Leuzinger, as well as Lawndale, both have Pop Warner leagues. Not one for Hawthorne, therefore he doesn't have a real feeder system. He talks about how many of the kids who are attending Hawthorne literally are still playing Pop Warner football for some of the teams down in Long Beach. Can't get the kids to come out and play ball for him right here in Hawthorne. And he's hoping, though, that over the next couple of years, this being just his second year there at Hawthorne, he thinks he's got something going. He has no doubts that this team will turn around in the next year or two.
And Glenn Tolliver comes wobbling off the field as he looked like he got his bell rung there on that fumble, the scramble for the fumble.
I think his head may have hit the ground on that tackle. It might have gave him a little dizzy, tweak, if you will.
Burton hands the ball off to Kavienga in the end zone, touchdown. But let's see, is there any flags? No, touchdown Olympians.
Kavienga running hard. Like to see that from a big fullback linebacker.
It's a very convincing 14-yard run for a touchdown here off the power I. We've seen this play all during the first half. That's how they got the first touchdown. You can see the drive by the Leuzinger offense just pushing the Hawthorne defense back 10 yards. It's just an awesome display of run blocking right there.
As that was Reynard Westbrook, number 10.
Very reminiscent of that first drive that Leuzinger had when they took the ball right down the field on Hawthorne. You saw how that offensive line just took control and had their way into the end zone.
2-point conversion, and that is going nowhere.
Rozaki Hill denied on one of the few attempts that he's had tonight. Just a hard-running young man, and this time the Cougars from Hawthorne rose up and said, no, not this time.
So a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 play drive capped off by a 12-yard run by Ouna Kavienga. Makes it 34-0. The 2-point conversion was no good. And that took all of 1 minute and 40 seconds. And again, a score off of a turnover, fellas.
Well, you know, Leuzinger's got to be concerned with injury at this point. They made a quarterback switch, and it looked like there was some controversy about that. They ended up putting back their starter in, and he got hurt. At what point do you start giving some of these guys a rest and play some kids who don't have an opportunity to play? You're going to be entering league and then the playoffs, and some of these guys may not see a lot of time, but when you're up 34 points and early in the second half, you might want to consider giving some of these guys a rest.
I agree with you, Mike. That's an excellent point. No doubt both of these coaches would like to go into league play with everyone at full speed and certainly not injured at all. And it's got to be quite troubling, certainly to Coach Swain, because he doesn't know what to do, whether he should play his best players and try to really give this team some momentum. And then on the other hand, you got Coach Tolliver, who doesn't want to get the letdown on his team. So it's kind of a damned if you do and damned if you don't.
Well, the kickoff is returned to the 30-yard line as Hawthorne, Marcus Allen brings it back about 20 yards.
And I think we're all a little surprised at the playing time that Marcus Allen is getting in this game after talking to Coach Swain, not thinking that he was going to play this much.
You're right. I was just thinking that same thing, Renard. Back to pass is Hinton. On the run, good coverage underneath, as that pass was intended for Artis Perry, but his opposite number, Reynard Westbrook, did a great job of coverage. You know what's really surprising me? Just before I let you go, Mike, it's Reynard Westbrook's speed has really surprised me tonight.
Young man has been all over the field tonight. I think that was a bad attempt on the part of the quarterback to try to squeeze that ball in. He had two defenders. He seemed to be trying to place it in between. It didn't look like it was going to work from the beginning, but a good attempt on his part anyway. Fortunately, it wasn't intercepted.
So it'll be 2nd and 10 from the 30-yard line. Hinton back to pass. Look out, here comes Otis Jones. But the screen pass is good to Marcus Allen, who gets ripped just beyond the 30-yard line.
And guess who? Kavienga. Young man putting his demo reel together tonight.
Let's go down to Beto Duran.
As if the Cougars didn't have enough banged up players, Eddie Ficklin, the wide receiver, number 1, jammed 2 fingers on his right hand. As a receiver, you know your hands are the most important thing. He's out on the field. He injured him playing defense, trying to make a tackle, came off the field, got some tape, wrapped it up, and went back in. Back to you, Lou.
Thanks a lot, Beto. And yep, the highlights are certainly piling up on both sides of the ball for one Ouna Kavienga. As there we see Noel Campos.
Well, this 2 quarterback head that Coach Swain has been using tonight hadn't found any success, and at some point you would think he might want to settle down and really try to get one of these quarterbacks in sync as they do try to get ready for the Ocean League play. Another flag.
And Mike, I don't know what Otis Jones was thinking there on the left end.
I'll tell you exactly what he's thinking. I got to get the quarterback.
Yeah, I've got two fumble recoveries. I'm looking for a third.
That's right. As we will be going to the Mayors in just a moment, Campos just rears back and fires a corner pattern. It is caught out of bounds by Idris, but there's a flag on the field. Let's see what that is. As Idris was fighting on the far sideline with Joshua Brown. And why don't we go downstairs, and Rashawn Haylock has two very special guests. Rashawn?
Thanks, guys. I'm down here with the two mayors of these two fine cities, Mayor Guidi of Hawthorne and, of course, Mayor Hoffman of Lawndale. First, I'll start with you, Mayor Guidi. The Cup has kind of been in the Leuzinger side for quite some time now, 5 years to be exact. How much smack have you been hearing from this gentleman to your left?
Too much, but you know, I feel bad for him, so that's why I let him keep the trophy for now. I told my guys, be easy on Leuzinger.
He said be easy. So far, it's 34-0. Is this what you call being easy?
That's being easy, and we're being nice to him, you know. I mean, it could be worse than that, you know, so. But I have to give all these kids a lot of credit for playing. I don't see anybody quitting. And that's the name of the game.
It's a great rivalry. What does it do for the two cities, Lawndale as well as Hawthorne?
Well, I always let my dad win the Cup because I believe in respecting my elders. So it's kind of like one of those things. I want him to have it for a while. Next year, I'm going to take it back. Enough's enough.
Well, next year we'll wait and see what happens next year. But I'm not too sure they're going to get it back. We're not going to give it back without a fight.
Well, you heard Mayor Hoffman. He said Leuzinger's not giving it up. These two fine mayors, Mayor Hoffman, of course, Mayor Guidi. Send it back upstairs to you, Lou.
All right, thank you very much. And Rashawn and Mr.'s mayors, Mr. Guidi and Hoffman. And I believe we have a new quarterback, if I'm not mistaken. Is that? Nope, that's Hinton. As the pass is complete to Artis Perry. Perry with the first down. No laundry, no yellow laundry, so it is a first down for the Cougars.
You know, we've been seeing this all night long. Hawthorne, they've been successful all throughout the game, getting big yardage and big plays. However, sustaining the drive, finishing, getting the score, that's where they've been deficient. That's where they need to work on. You know, again, we talk about a team developing, learning. Well, there's no better way to learn from your mistakes, and hopefully Hawthorne can get on the scoreboard.
Well, Hawthorne's had plenty of mistakes to learn from tonight, I tell you. Hopefully they can sustain one of these drives now. I think that clearly would give them some momentum and certainly some confidence.
Whoop. That was a low snap, and Hinton was lucky to get that one in because racing in to try to pick up the fumble was Ronald Battle.
Just as soon as I say they're starting to get something going, there they go, shooting themselves in the foot again.
Back to the 45-yard line. So a loss of about 6 yards on the play. So it'll be second down and 16 with 2:23 left to go in the third quarter. 34-0. Hawthorne and DeAndre Hinton trail Leuzinger in the Mayor's Cup. Three receivers to the left of Hinton on the far side. Looking to the right to the near side. Pass is caught by Idris. Idris gets by one man, but a nice open field tackle by Kavienga.
And Kavienga was out there, the initial defender for the wide receiver, and slipped on the comeback to get him, but had enough to get up and still get him. You can see here, Kavienga's the one that's defending number 4. You couldn't see him. He just fell down, got up. Oh, that's 21 that was out there, and Kavienga came in off of that linebacker position and cleaned it up.
That's right. So slipping on that, probably getting a little bit wet down there. Joshua Brown slipped down for a 14-yard play, Mike.
Yeah, they are losing their footing down there. But, you know, again, we've been seeing it all night long. Kuyenga making the play on pass patterns out in the flats. You know, the cornerbacks getting assisted by the linebackers, showing a lot of range, a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism to make a potentially big gain into a moderate one.
And Kavienga set to go to UCLA next year, who is at Oregon State tomorrow. Should be a a damp field up there in Corvallis. And it's never fun because those orange and black Beaver fans do not like the powder blue and gold.
I believe that's going to be a big game for UCLA tomorrow, too.
Oh, that's an understatement.
A huge game. Certainly if they have any chances of getting to the BCS this year. Certainly after that big loss at Utah.
Well, Channel 22 has seen a lot of their athletes go to the next level and be successful at Division I football. And it's good to hear that the tradition continues.
And let's not forget on the hardwood either. There's Hinton, back to pass, rolling out. And just away from Oscar Arevalo.
And I love to see Taffa with all of that pressure he was putting back there on him. Not a chance to really set his feet. Pass again, a little out throwing, a little overthrowing, I should say, of the receiver. But I think it was all due to the pressure that he was getting from Nicholson to Affa.
Let's not forget our old buddy Otis Jones out there, too, as we see Kavienga stretching out.
Looks like cramps.
See what happens when you get your hair cut? You start cramping up.
Yeah, not enough water or Gatorade as well. That'll happen all the time.
I think Auna got a lot of his moisture from the hair.
Kept him from dehydrating, huh?
He's going to have to adjust that.
Well, while we've got a little time out here, I'd like to go back, if I could, to the interview that they had down there with the two mayors. Both gentlemen spoke very well, and I was really impressed to see that the interest and the rivalry between the two mayors, and no doubt the coach and the referee. There they are right there, both mayors, and Mayor Hoffman on the left there. Certainly a man who we talked to early, and as he alluded to, he has no plans to let that trophy go.
He's got a tight grip.
Those two gentlemen know this community very well. They've been in those positions for quite a long time.
Love to hear him say that none of the kids were giving up. Truly a real attribute to both coaches, and that's what you like to see, of course. And certainly if these kids don't get anything from playing high school football, it should be never give up.
Well, there's no quit in them. That's for sure. Whether they make the penalties or not, the mistakes or not, they're still out there. They're still trying. They're still giving 100%. And that is one aspect of the Cougars that I like to see, is they will play all 48 minutes.
Well, I tell you, looking over across the side there, all of the players are standing up. They don't seem to be slouching, laying down, or certainly not interested. And no doubt that is the beginning of a true champ, a team that's trying to build something. And Coach Swain, I want to take my hat off to you. I think you got something going. Just be patient and hang in there, Coach. As you see Coach Tolliver there, he's got to be ecstatic the way his team is playing, even though they've had several penalties and a few turnovers that have stopped some big drives. He's still got to feel good about the production of his offense.
Hawthorne just needs to crack the goose egg. They've only scored 12 points this year, and that was in the second game of the year, so it's been a long drought. But Hinton is stopped. Otis Jones is in there.
Oh, correction, that was Allen. Looked like it might have been a direct snap to Allen. I don't know if they were trying to fool him or what, but it didn't work.
No. So they turned it over on downs.
As you can see on the replay, it looked like perhaps they went on a different cadence and half the team wasn't ready for it. Nonetheless, a broken play.
Well, that'll give the ball to Leuzinger, and got a penalty flag out here on the field. Let's see what the call is for this. And more importantly, it's going to give Leuzinger the ball, 1st and 10, though.
You know, many times these officials, they develop their own opinions about certain schools and certain programs. You know, they work the same league throughout the whole season. They talk, they meet regularly amongst themselves. You know, you don't want to have your football team develop a reputation as a sloppy team, because sooner or later the referees are just gonna look for mistakes.
I agree with you, Mike, 100%. That is something. Your reputation goes a long way with your team. They're known for penalties, kind of like that Oakland Raider nation. You know, a lot of the officials seem like they're very quick with the flag simply because of the reputation they've established over the number of years. And certainly we see some of that happening tonight and have to begin to wonder if the officials are seeing these two teams that way as well.
Okay, we had offsetting penalties.
Coach Tolliver doesn't look like he can believe it.
Yeah, how do you get offsetting penalties, but the ball gets to the 47-yard line?
I don't see how it's offsetting when the ball got advanced on Leuzinger's part, and they're picking up a 1st and 10 yards further from the spot.
Well, they got 15 yards on that one.
Yeah.
So here comes Brown. Brown goes across the 50-yard line down to the 45-yard line for a 9-yard gain.
Joshua Brown running well in today's game, and Oscar Aravello there to stop him on the not until he picked up about 8 yards though on that run.
Well, as we're nearing the end of the quarter, Leuzinger already making some key substitutions in positions and getting some players playing time that probably wouldn't if it was a closer game.
And that's another thing you see, fellas. The Olympians right down below us have a much larger roster than do Hawthorne, which don't even believe they have 40 men on their entire varsity roster.
And that was one of the things that Coach Swain was telling me about at the beginning. He had 17 freshmen to come out this year to play football compared to Coach Tolliver, who had 29 freshmen to come. So you can see the disparity in numbers, certainly for the team to build in years to come. And that's one of the things Coach Swain has got to correct in years to come if he plans to build a program with some success.
I do believe Rashawn Haylock is ready, so let's go down to see Rashawn.
Thanks, guys. Couple injury notes to pass your way. First of all, Glenn Tolliver, the quarterback, he got banged in the knee last time we saw him when he was down. He had to come out. Well, he's icing that knee right now. However, the trainer said he should be okay, should be available to return. Also, you normally notice this when it's a hot day. Normally people come up with cramps, players come up with cramps. However, it's somewhat of a chill in the air tonight, and you've seen a couple of players on Leuzinger sidelines have to get stretched out due to cramps. Lastly, being Wana Kavinga, they just stretched him out, and he should be okay. He should be available to return. Send it back upstairs to you.
Yep, just because it's cold outside doesn't mean you quit drinking water, that's for sure, or the Gatorade.
You know, nutrition is a big deal in athletics. You know, and sometimes coaches and programs, they forget about that part. You know, kids forget that they got to drink water, hydrate themselves, and be ready come game day.
Burton on the reverse is pitched back to Mills. Mills to the 40-yard line and is run down from behind by Oscar Aravallo.
Ooh, I like the way that linebacker made up ground and was able to stop him before, not until after he picked up the first down, but nevertheless, had he gotten away from Aravello, he might have been able to get away and get into the end zone.
Now watch this hit from behind. Mills is looking for room, and whoop.
Aravello
That
right
was
there.
a tough hit.
Nice, strong tackle.
Nice.
This young man looks like he's got some football in his blood.
Nice camera work.
You would say that.
1st and 10. Burton swinging it out to the outside. And fumble.
Ball's loose.
Did he get it before it went out of bounds?
Ficklin stripping the ball loose.
Well, we saw T-Shawn Burton the previous series make the wrong decision on that play. This time he makes the right decision. Rather than go deep, he settles for the pass that the defense is giving him right there on the flats and makes a nice completion for a good gain for the Olympians right there.
And that's going to end there's the ball right there. It goes out of bounds. So it'll be short of the first down, so it'll be 2nd and 1. And that's the end of the third quarter in the Mayor's Cup. Hawthorne trailing Leuzinger 34-0. We'll be back with the fourth and final quarter right after this on Channel 22 Sports. And we are back at Olympian Field awaiting the fourth quarter of play. Now, I thought the line of scrimmage was the 30-yard line. They've got it at the 20-yard line. Am I hallucinating again?
I'm trying to still figure that out as well. I'm with you. I thought it was at the 30. Maybe there was another penalty or something that I missed.
I don't know. Well, let's go to Beto Duran real quick while they figure it out.
Another injury update from the Hawthorne sidelines. This time the center, Ricardo Casillas, left late in the third quarter with a bruise in his left shin. He was kicked there in the first quarter, played through it, got kicked in the same spot again. Casillas will come back into the game. Actually injured that left leg against Compton a couple weeks ago. Back to you, Lou.
That's a big loss. Ricardo Casillas is the anchor of that offensive line, as Burton didn't know what to do, so he just takes it over left tackle and goes all the way down to the 10-yard line, and a first down for the Olympians.
That was a smart decision on part of the sophomore quarterback. When you come off that option play, you got to read the defensive end. The defensive end froze. He just kept the ball and gained some positive yards. You can see he had a hard time catching the ball, but once he got it in his possession, there was no question what he was going to do with it. Good play on a good decision.
I think he was hoping he was going to get a chance to option that ball, but after he couldn't get his big paws on it to get control of it, he just decided to tuck it in and run with it, and ended up being a big play for him.
Joshua Brown in the backfield with Burton, as there's 3 wide receivers in the pattern. Burton does pitch it to Brown this time, and look out, has some very big people in white jerseys tackle him, and the biggest one is Ratula Sike bringing him down.
It's good lateral movement on the defense that time. They were able to close out the outside, really stuff this play. Nice play on the part of both the cornerback coming up and the linebacker and the defensive line coming in. Good team play that time by the Cougar defense.
Ratula Sike, 6'3", 250-pound senior, outrunning Brown on that play. And a 4-yard loss, and what is going on? We have somebody out in the field right now. What's going on? Something holding the game up.
Looks like we've got somebody sporting a Hawthorne beanie in the midst of the Leuzinger crowd.
Not a smart thing to do.
Wrong side of the field to be doing that on. No doubt the kids are just having some fun at a good old high school football game on a Friday night.
That's right. And the moon has gone inside the marine layer.
Yeah, you can't say the clouds, can you?
That's right. But did we get a penalty on that? The ball is inside the 10-yard line. It's 2nd and 10, they're calling it. Back to pass is Hinton, or Burton, I should say, and that goes incomplete. Kemp was the intended receiver.
Didn't look like Kemp and the quarterback were on the same page that time. Burton must have thought he was going to break it off early, cut back inside toward the post, and that pass just went out there for no one.
Yeah, they try to isolate him and put him out there on the white side of the field one-on-one. Had three receivers to the short side of the field, and just couldn't connect.
Yeah, there had to be a penalty on that because there was a 4-yard loss back to the 14-yard line. Now the line of scrimmage is the 9-yard line, so it's 3rd and goal. As Burton has a full house backfield behind him. Ball is handed off, and inside is Taufa for the touchdown. Or is that Rasaki Hilt for his 3rd touchdown. Hilt with the hat trick.
And I believe, again, you'll see on the replay something I alluded to on one of his other touchdowns, or both of his other touchdowns. I don't think he was touched until he crossed the end zone.
No, they just double-team block, down and double-team block off the tackle. They lead with a couple of lead blocks. You can see that linebacker getting picked up, didn't even try to stuff the play. And as a result, as you said, a touchdown without being touched.
Man, if I could have, I tell you, if I could have ran behind that Leuzinger offense a little bit in my younger days, I'd still probably be playing football. Don't even get touched when you get that close.
Jurast puts it up and in. Or up and through, I should say. It's 41-0.
So is that officially a blowout?
It's getting there. 10:34 left to go in the fourth quarter. And I just want to hope that the Cougars get in the end zone and crack that goose egg.
Well, I think we were told last year's score was 42-7. Looks like we're real close to that again this year.
Well, Hawthorne is doing a good job presenting what not to do.
I was about to say, where are you going with this, Mike?
What not to do. You got to be consistent. You have to be consistent. Leuzinger has not, Hawthorne has not been consistent. They've shown flashes of success. They've had flashes of success passing the ball, running the ball. They just can't finish. They just can't get in the end zone.
And that's got to be the most disconcerting thing for Coach Swain. He's seen the potential. He's seen the opportunities, and they've just been thwarted. Hadn't had a chance to really get up off the ground and get anything going.
As the ball's picked up at the 5-yard line, and
That's
out of bounds is Ficklin.
I thought he was hurt. Must
Well,
have got some Gatorade in him and came back.
These Cougars are very resilient. We've seen that, and also after they took a pounding against Compton, they just are like that Timex watch. They take a licking, they keep on ticking. A lot of heart over there in that far sideline.
Well, we've seen that on play after play because they truly have been getting pummeled by this defense from Leuzinger, and I can't count the number of hard hits we've seen. Just another one right here.
Let's go down to Rashawn.
Hey, thanks a lot, guys. I'm sure you heard all of that noise to the right of you upstairs in the booth. Well, I was told there was a Hawthorne fan or student or spectator up there on the Leuzinger sideline. That drew a whole ovation of boos. I'm glad, I know you guys heard that up there. But also, we talking about this Hawthorne-Leuzinger rivalry, how, a lot of these kids grew up together and whatnot. Well, also, this thing divides families. Nicholson Taufa, #1 for Leuzinger. You remember all the Mola brothers, Tavita Moala, all the Mola brothers that played for Hawthorne back in their heyday. Well, he said he's related to all of them. Also in this game tonight, number 64, Alexander Tava on the Hawthorne side, and also number 58, Morris Molistad. Those are also cousins of Taufa also. Reynard, I'm sure you guys upstairs will enjoy that. Back up to you.
Anything you say we enjoy, Rashawn.
Well,
Thanks a lot.
I had asked Rashawn to see if he could find out if any of these were cousins or kinfolks playing across from each other, and no doubt both cities being this close to each other, we recognize that the kids probably grew up playing Pop Warner, if not in the field, playing together on the street, and now here they are matching up across town rivals. Hawthorne against Leuzinger. Man, that brings out families and friends and can turn some serious rivalries into some real fierce enemies.
And you know what? To talk about fierce, Richard Casillas is back at center for Hawthorne as the running back maybe gets to the line of scrimmage again.
Well,
a lot
these
of pounding
schools,
going on.
these schools make up the Centinela Valley School District, and the way that the school district breaks the borders down on which student goes to which high school, some of these kids might live across the street from each other and go to different schools. So it's really an interesting thing the way some of these kids matriculate to their different high schools.
It gets to be personal, Mike. I know your game, you know my game, and if we're playing on opposite ends of the field, certainly, I know your strength, and I'm going to stay away from it if I can.
And they do grow up with each other, playing against each other, if not with each other, in youth leagues and whatnot.
3rd down and 10 for the Cougars. 8 minutes, 30 seconds left to go in the fourth quarter. Back to pass is Hinton. Throws it downfield, and Hinton is whacked as he throws it, and it overthrows everybody.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out who he was throwing that to. I saw 5 blue jerseys out there, and he overthrew those guys as well. So I guess it was a good thing he overthrew everyone, but there was no receiver down there. Could have almost got hit with almost a grounding. Who you throwing that to?
That would have been a big one, that's for sure.
That's a reach.
There's our terrific Channel 22 sports crew.
Just
led by Tom Strickfadden, or that's not all the crew, that's just one of them.
Yeah, just one of the fine camera operators out here working with us tonight, bringing you all those.
Hey, is that your kid, Mike?
No. But I'll tell you one thing. After 20 years of high school football on Channel 22, formerly Channel 60, you know, a lot of credit goes out to these people who come out here week in and week out every year to bring these kind of productions to the local community. My hats go off to Tom Strickfan and all these talented people out here today.
And meanwhile, on the field, Leuzinger takes over deep inside of Hawthorne territory, courtesy of another fumble.
Another turnover by the Leuzinger Olympians, and perhaps this time, let's see if Hawthorne can do something with it. Time is running out on them, and I know Coach Swain would love to at least put something up on that board tonight. This might be one of the last chances the Cougars get.
To Sean Burton, leading out the Olympians as Joshua Brown to his right.
Oh, I stand corrected. That wasn't a turnover.
Or was it turnover on downs? It had to be some sort of a turnover, because there was a snap.
Oh, block punt. It was a block punt. My bad. Guess we got so carried away and missed it.
Well, okay.
Cracker
That'll
crew.
teach me.
There you see the pass by Burton out there. Wobbly pass, hits the ground, fell a little short.
So from the 27-yard line, it'll be 2nd down and 10. Burton hands the ball off to Brown. Nice block up front, gets beyond the 20-yard line and down close to the 15. Big block by Sean Medina.
Well, if you see the replay here, watch number 11 for the Cougars. Looked like he just got flipped head over heels. Number 11 coming across here right there, trying to get in on the tackle, and just really was taken out by that runner as well as the defender from Hawthorne.
The Olympians doing a good job mixing up their play calling.
1st and 10 at the 15-yard line of the Cougars. Burton gonna pass, and a little short, low and outside to Kemp.
And behind him as well, I might add. Timing just a little bit off between Burton and Kemp, and that's to be expected. 2nd string quarterback, perhaps hadn't gotten all of the first time and first play reps with the starting wideouts, and just perhaps a little timing issues there that I'm sure Coach Tolliver and the entire team will work on next week.
7:11 left to go in the ball game, and Mayor Hoffman is not letting that Mayor's Cup out of his clutches just yet.
And not out of his sight as well. He's just a little bit, probably about 20 yards away from that trophy. No doubt he's making plans to go over and pick it up right after the game.
Now there we're going to have a roughing the passer call, I do believe.
Maybe a little frustration at this point in the game, Lou?
I would say so. Just getting to be that time, and the Cougars just, it has been a frustrating season, especially for a group of kids that have just been letting it all out there on the gridiron. And again, no points to show for it.
It's got to be quite disappointing to them to come out here and play hard and still just come up short. This will take them to 0-15 over the past 2 seasons, and certainly 0-5 in the Mayor's Cup. It's got to be pretty disappointing.
Well, let me ask you this. At what point do you start losing patience?
As a coach or a player?
Well, maybe as a coach, or maybe even as a supporter of the program,
Well, I think it's pretty evident if you look at that Hawthorne stands over there, you don't see many parents. I'm certainly disappointed that they're not here to support their kids for the effort they're putting out, and perhaps the parents are showing that they're disappointed by not being here, but that's not the way to show it, of course. But as a coach, I don't know if Coach Swain can give up too fast. He's only been there a couple of years. He recognizes the problems he's dealing with, not having a feeder program to actually give him the quality kids that he feels he needs to put a good program together. So, and it's a tough question, but you have to, I think, stay with the basics and keep the kids that, yeah, they're going to be bad days and tough games to play, but if you give it your best and your all, it'll make you a better man in the long haul.
Raynard Westbrook with the handoff and gets down to the 5-yard line. So Ray getting his hands on the ball after being rewarded for some good defensive plays.
And I think back to your point, Mike, as a player, I think that's probably the job of the coaches to make sure that they don't give up. I know that's easier said than done because clearly having been on a few losing seasons myself, some teams when I was younger, it's easy to get disappointed, demoralized, and perhaps that's why you see some of the penalties that Hawthorne, some of those late hits that we saw a few moments ago.
Rosaki Hilt goes towards the end zone. Touchdown, Leuzinger. 4 touchdowns for Rosaki Hilt.
Young man is bringing the bacon tonight.
You know, I was reading a high school blog earlier in the week, and they were questioning why Leuzinger isn't getting the kind of notoriety that some of the other schools in the Southland are getting. Winning a game by this margin is definitely going to make a statement about the level of talent they have on the field, whether or not they can be compared to some of the top other high school programs in the Southland. Well, time will only tell, but tonight they're definitely making a statement.
Gerast coming on the field. I'll tell you, Mike, this is my 4th season watching Leuzinger football play, and the transition from Mike Witt and the wing T, a double wing offense, into the passing game of Glenn Tolliver, and there is one common denominator. This team will get down on itself in the big games. The confidence level in this team has to rise above that level in the big games. They'll take care of the Hawthorns. They'll take care of the lower echelon teams. And they'll take care of some teams like Redondo every now and then. But when it comes right down to it in the playoffs, as the kick is good, which is very good, that's a great sign for Leuzinger, they just can't close the deal.
And we saw that a couple of weeks ago at Legacy. Legacy was one of those good teams that I think Leuzinger truly thought they could play with. They had the speed to stay with them. They had the size to stay with them. But as soon as they got down, got behind, it looked like the bottom just fell out. And penalties, turnovers, and they never really picked themselves up and got back into the game and ended up by losing by 3 missed field goals. But clearly, Leuzinger is a team that we've seen, and I think, Lou, you will admit, they have the makings of a very good team. It's being consistent and sustaining some of those drives and not committing some of the penalties and turnovers.
Case in point, when they played Miracosta in the daytime, at Miracosta, they were coming in on a huge winning streak, and then they fell flat on their face. And they had an opportunity to run the table in the Bay League and get a very good seed, and then they backed into the playoffs. So I'm not ripping the team, not at all. But I'm just saying that in order to get into that upper echelon, get into that Pac-5 mentality, like a Compton just up the freeway, look at what they've done in just 5 years. And Hawthorne is in the same boat. They just need some kids. They need some bodies. Same thing down here. Even though Leuzinger has their roster is growing, they have to get that winning attitude.
Right, and that's one of the things that Coach Tolliver talked to us about a couple of weeks ago, that this team hasn't learned to win. They've been so accustomed to losing that he's had to reinstill a new energy and confidence in them, and he really believes that they're on the way back to being a powerhouse, not only in the Bay League, but in the entire South Bay.
Handoff up the middle, nowhere. Maybe even a couple of yards lost by Marvin Williamson. Let's go down to Beto Duran.
On their way to losing the varsity version of the Mayor's Cup, the JV squad actually had a victory yesterday over Leuzinger. An exciting 20-13 victory with 1 minute to go. Leuzinger on the 1-yard line. The tailback fumbled. Charles Hinton picked it up in the end zone. Hawthorne is now 2-3 on the JV level, and things are looking up for Coach Swain and his program. Back to you, Lou.
Thanks a lot, Beto. And Beto just must be eavesdropping on us, because there he is. He's talking about the future, getting that winning attitude.
That's what Coach Swain was talking about, how a lot of those kids on the JV team that had that big win yesterday are moving up, and he brought 4 of them for the game tonight, as a matter of fact, because he wants them to get that experience in a big-time game.
Back to pass is Hinton being chased and flushed out of the... Oh, my goodness. Ow. Ficklin was run over by a freight train. What was the license number on that Super Chief?
I couldn't make it out. It looked like it might have been 25. Mitchell, one of the smallest men out there on the field at 5'8" and 170 pounds. Let's see if that isn't Mitchell over there playing on that corner.
There's
Replay
the rush as the right end flushes him out. Blammo. The little engine that could to Sean Mitchell.
You know, Mitchell's been picked on all night. I think he got an opportunity to,
there you go.
you know, lay a little,
Say,
lay a
let me
little
get a
wood
little bit
on
of
the
that
guy.
back
as
y'all
they
been
say.
giving me. That's all
He
right.
brought a little punch to the party tonight.
Well, we had another one of those penalties. Now, Leuzinger gets called for it. That signal, whatever that is, that's not offsetting penalties because it keeps going the wrong way.
You know, we're getting back to the conversation we were having about Leuzinger and big games. You know, we talk about, you remind me of what Coach Wooden used to say about championship teams. You're going to be a champion, you got to play your best game in the biggest games. You know, you got to bring your best game to the biggest games, and maybe Leuzinger will learn that.
Out of the eye is Hinton. Hinton on the reverse. Look out as Idris gets drugged to the ground. Big hit by number 41, John Wemberly. Let's go downstairs to Rashawn Haylock.
Thanks, guys. Indeed, a very special guest. The gentleman to my left needs no introduction. A legend in these parts, of course, Russell Westbrook of the UCLA Bruins. Russell, of course, you went here to Leuzinger. How important is this game? Was it for you as a student here at Leuzinger and then even now as an alumni?
Oh, it's great. You know what I'm saying? You don't never want to lose to your rival. You know, always want to come out, support my little brother out there. Just coming out and see who wins the game. Hopefully us, though.
As you said, your little brother, how important is it for you to come back and be able to see him catch some of his football games?
It's really important. I think, you know, support is always there for him. Just let him know that I'm always coming to his game, you know, even though I go to school way in Westwood, but always coming out to support my little brother.
Speaking of Westwood, let's talk about you a little bit. Big season, a lot of expectations for you guys over there in Westwood. You personally, how are you looking to get better, and are you going to see, you know, a lot more playing time with a follow-out?
Oh, yes. I'm looking forward. You know, I'm playing shooting guard this year along as a point. So I'm looking forward to the year and hopefully have a great season.
As far as expectations, are you guys talking about those already? Talking about getting back to the Final Four?
Yeah, that's our main goal. Always our main goal, getting back to the Final Four and then going from there.
All right, Russell Westbrook, former Leuzinger Olympian, current UCLA Bruin. Check him out this fall or this winter as the Bruins try to get back to the Final Four. Send it back upstairs to you.
Oh boy, the hair's already up on the back of my neck. The college basketball just around the corner, and the UCLA Bruins are expected to get back to the Final Four. And big Kevin Love is going to be fed by Russell Westbrook.
Should have been an exciting season for the UCLA Bruins, as you mentioned. Always expected to get to the Final Four.
That's right.
Pauley Pavilion's not a bad place to play basketball.
Nope, not a bad play. That place will rock if you can get 12,000 people in there. And hopefully they will. Their tickets will be hard to come by up there to go see our pal Russell Westbrook and company.
Good to see Russell out here supporting his little brother as well as the entire Leuzinger football team.
Eddie Ficklin has some running to do just to get some yardage back. He needs to get to the 46-yard line for a first down. And he gains about 6 of that back. So it'll be third down and a whole bunch.
You know, we've seen this play all night, and you know, with some success, the Cougars have been able to gain some yardage. However, the Olympians have so much speed. You know, it's going to be hard for any team to try to run on the outside on these guys. They have excellent team speed.
And that's one of the things I think is going to have to be one of their staples, is that they've got to use that speed against the other teams, take advantage of it. Something that I've seen Coach Tolliver do. Was a little disappointed in the way he used his speed against Legacy a few weeks ago, but clearly tonight they've got the speed advantage, and as you mentioned, Mike, it's quite obvious.
Under a minute left to go, and Hawthorne with the ball, Ficklin with it. Ficklin trying to get to the outside, does, out of bounds.
I believe that was
Actually,
Allen.
Marcus Allen.
Right.
A little bit fast for Ficklin, even though Eddie is a quick one. But just want to expound on that. You know, I've been kind of criticizing Leuzinger about their winning attitude, but it's also they've had to switch over from a coach with a 4 yards and a cloud of dust mentality to over the top. And also Glenn Tolliver is learning as a head coach as well. So it's a learning experience for everybody involved here, and everybody just has to find that gear, how to get that transmission locked in and get those points in the condenser going in the right
direction. When you
direction.
have that situation, what you want to see is improvement each week. It's a 10-week season, 14 weeks when you get to the championship, and you really don't want to be the same team you were in September come November.
And the Mayor's Cup will stay in Lawndale. Leuzinger 48-0 over Hawthorne. A terrific ball game put in by Leuzinger, and Hawthorne just looking to crack that goose egg as they are shut out again. Hawthorne for the 4th time in 5 games. Hawthorne falls to 0-5. Leuzinger improves to 3-1.
Well, I'm impressed. I'm impressed by the Leuzinger team. I came out tonight not knowing to expect, and I am thoroughly impressed by Leuzinger. And at the same time, Hawthorne, they got to keep their heads up. From what I see, their future looks promising. If you can learn from your mistakes, they've got an awful lot of things that they can learn from tonight.
And this is one of the nicest things I like to see after any high school football games. They've been butting heads all night long. They get together at midfield and congratulate each other.
I like to see that as well, and I wish the pros would do that. But clearly, watching the young men, a lot of hugs, shows that they are quite familiar with each other and are glad that everybody came through the game without any, what we hope, serious injuries. There you see the Olympian torch. Pretty sight sitting on top of the stadium here at Leuzinger.
That's right, the torch will stay lit and warm up the sky tonight in Lawndale as Mayor Hoffman will, I would like to see him dance to the Lou House cheer with the trophy in his hand. That would be something. I mean, he's had it since when, 2001?
Yes.
Leuzinger High School being the practice site for the 1932 United States Olympic teams.
That's right, it's held at the
They're named
Coliseum.
the Olympians.
Well, I see a shot of the coaches out there with the mayor. Looks like they're all having a lot of fun. And I see the trophy in the hands of the Hawthorne mayor. And I guess he's maybe the mayor from Lawndale is just letting him use it for a little while, maybe. Let him know what it feels like.
You better watch it. Mayor Hoffman might lower the boom on him.
Well, he's right there walking with him, just carrying the trophy for him.
Well, while we get things straightened out on the field, why don't we take a quick timeout as the Mayor's Cup stays in Lawndale. Leuzinger 48-0 over Hawthorne on Channel 22 Sports. Let's go find Mayor Hoffman, as I believe he's talking somewhere. There he is down there. There he is. Let's go to Mayor Hoffman.
To present it to the Leuzinger team.
I want to tell you guys played a great game. I'm proud of you. No matter who wins and loses, at the end of the day, you guys earn your rank. You earn what you have. And I know most of you are Hawthorne residents, so it doesn't hurt for me to pass the trophy over to the mayor of Lawndale. Congratulations.
Mayor Guidi handing the trophy back to Mayor Hoffman of Lawndale.
We want you guys not only to enjoy this tonight, enjoy it the full year. We'll keep it again next year. I've already told the mayor of Hawthorne that we're not going to just give it up. So you guys have done a tremendous job. I would like to hand it to each one of you individually. I'm not going to do that. But I want to say to every one of you, thank you for your energy, for your talent, and for the display of sportsmanship this evening. Thank you very much.
Mayor Hoffman handing it to the captains. And the Leuzinger Olympians pass around the Mayor's Cup.
That's a nice tradition. It's good to see the camaraderie, the two cities, neighbors, a lot of family and friends out here to enjoy a good And it looks like they get, did they get Coach Tolliver? Looked like they were trying, as you see the trophy being raised there by some of the Leuzinger players.
Some of the captains there.
Got to be a nice feeling. And something that you can carry the rest of your life.
That's right.
I always tell those friends that you grew up with across town, I owned you for that night at least.
It's Nick Maula as Coach Glenn Tolliver now holds it up.
Hey, you guys. Hey, good game, fellas. Oh, I'm not on that, am I? Okay, good.
Okay.
Hey, no. Okay.
Oops.
Hey, good game, fellas.
All right, Coach Glenn Tolliver. The torch will burn brightly tonight. 48-0 is the score. And the Mayors, Guidi and Hoffman, come walking off of the field. And I do believe we had some tape of one of our own Channel 22 Sports crew taking it for the team. But first want to go over Hawthorne's score. Well, here it is. Eddie Ficklin being chased. And then watch our cameraman. There you see him at the right side of the screen there. Oh, man, he could have had an ACL blown out or something there.
Jeff getting in the action down there.
Actually, I think he took a flop.
It looked like a flop to me, too. I don't think he really got hit.
Well, I don't know if he would have. When that happened, Tom Strickfadden, our producer-director, said, "How's the camera?"
Of course. Of course. We can get another camera operator, but cameras, they're hard to come by.
That's right. The leg can heal. All right, 48-0 is the score here. Hawthorne now starts with the Ocean League action on the 12th of October with Beverly Hills, then Inglewood, Morningside, Culver City, and Santa Monica. Now, Coach Swain says he likes to stack it up the preseason with a lot of powerhouses to get these kids some experience. Well, some of the experience, I don't know, will that bruise your confidence or bruise your body before you get into Ocean League action?
Yeah, I'm not a big proponent of losing all of my games going into league play. I do believe it's got to play seriously on your ego, certainly your confidence. And I don't care if you have been playing the cream of the crop, all of the top teams in the South Bay area and local teams in the area. It's got to be not only demoralizing, but it's just tough for the coaches to be able to go to practice every day and try to get these kids to feel like the program's working. Things are going in their direction, and they can have a decent season when it's over. So I'm not a big proponent of taking these tough teams in hopes that it's going to make you a better team at the end of the season.
Let's go down to the field as Rashawn Haylock has a special guest.
Guys, I'm here. Thanks a lot, guys. I'm here with Coach T. Leuzinger, the winners of the Mayor's Cup this year. Once again, Coach T, how does it feel?
It feels real good to come back with the Mayor's Cup. I mean, you know, this is what all the guys fight hard for, all their buddies all around here. So it's something that they can always talk about for years and years to come. So it feels good to let them have that experience.
At the half, you were talking about the penalties that your team was surmounting in the first half. Second half was a little bit better. Did you guys do a better job of cleaning up, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think we did a better job of cleaning up, but there's still a lot of work to be done, as always, and we'll continue to do that.
How do you move forward now? Such a big game, the Mayor's Cup, home opener, you know, but you got bigger fish to fry. One more non-league game before you get into Bay League play. How do you, kind of refocus the thing and continue on with the season?
We just start back on Monday and actually Saturday and just get back in focus. Because sure, the team we play next week, they won Division 7 championship, so they're going to be ready. You know, a little smaller than us, but they're going to be ready to play football. So these guys, they know this team, so they're going to be ready to go.
Lastly, Coach, they got you with the water bath afterwards. How much are they going to have to pay for this on Saturday or come Monday?
I got them. You know I got them. We're going to pay for that one. No, I enjoy them guys because they're happy. I'm happy. You know, we all happy as family, so I understand they get to celebrate. I enjoy it. It's all good.
All right, thanks a lot, Coach.
Right,
appreciate the time.
Right.
Coach Tolliver here, Leuzinger winning this one tonight. The Mayor's Cup has been here at Leuzinger High School since 2002. We'll send it back up to you guys.
Thank you very much, Rashawn Haylock, and congratulations to Coach Glenn Tolliver and Leuzinger. 48-0 winners over Hawthorne. And fellas, Who knows? Maybe this could be that big glue, that glue of confidence going into the season.
Well, I think it certainly could be a big step for Leuzinger, and it's one of the things that Mike and I were talking about earlier. This has got to be a big momentum booster for Leuzinger headed into the Bay League in a couple of weeks. And no doubt other teams now, when they see this box score tomorrow in the newspaper, Leuzinger might be for real.
And, and also Leuzinger did show some weaknesses out there as well in spite of the score. They still have to work on being a disciplined team, staying in control of the situation when minimizing their penalties, minimizing their mistakes, and being able to make better reads as a quarterback. But all in all, they are looking really good, and they're looking at their schedule. They play Miracosta, they play Palos Verdes. They have a formidable schedule. They're in a formidable league, and if they can continue to improve every week, I think we just may be seeing them play well into November and perhaps December.
Let me take just a second to congratulate Coach Swain. I certainly believe he is on the right track with those young men over at Hawthorne. And more importantly, he needs to really work at keeping their spirits up and let them know that, yeah, they're going through a transitional period right now, but don't get down, because what they're building today is going to be for the future. And clearly, I think he's got the makings of a good team to go, and I hope he'll not only let those kids not get their heads down, but hope he'll keep his head up as well.
It's just like the first time you go into a weight room or play a guitar, you got to get your scars and your calluses before you can learn to play well.
Indeed.
And that's what they're doing. They're getting their scars and their calluses, even though they've dropped their 15th in a row. There's always next week. Next week they get a week off to think about things and get things right and stay on sides. That's what they need to do.
Try to cut down on the penalties.
And for Leuzinger, next week is no sure thing with Sure, that's for sure.
Indeed. A team that, as Coach Tolliver mentioned in the interview, they're going to come and be ready for them. And matter of fact, I believe they've got to go to Sure.
This is a huge game, Mike, because here's what I was talking about earlier. Coming off of a huge win, their confidence may be so sky high that they forget about Sure coming in.
And Sure, being a school out in the San Gabriel Valley in Alhambra, they'll have an opportunity to spread the reputation of the Leuzinger offense and defense if they play to their potential. So, it's going to be an interesting game to see, and also give Leuzinger an opportunity to let the greater Southland know about them.
That's right. You said it at the top of the broadcast. You and I were talking about it before the ball game. How come this team isn't more well known throughout the Southland? This game against Sure next week will be that game that will send a notice, if they take care of Sure, around the CIF Southern section that, hey, these are not last year's Olympians, that's for sure. Palos Verdes Peninsula, Redondo, Miracosta, and West right after that. There's no easy games left for Leuzinger.
Well, I know for a fact that last game of the season against West, which could be the real determining factor as to whether they get to go into the playoffs, that team is on fire, unbeaten to date as far as we know. I don't know how they fared tonight, but started out 4-0 tonight. Look really good with Brian Ballinger and the rest of that group.
I'm looking forward to seeing Leuzinger throughout the whole season, and I'm happy for the new coaching staff and the student body. They really look like they're enjoying themselves out there.
All right, fellas, I want to thank you very much for joining us, and those fellas being Renard Hicks and Mike Galarza. Sorry about that, Mike. I can butcher them with the best of them, that's for sure. All right, I want to thank you guys also, Rashawn Haylock and Beto Duran, and the Channel 22 Sports crew led by none other than Tom Strickfaden. Our next broadcast will be from Lawndale, where Bolsa Grande will come back and complete the home and home on October 5th. Bolsa Grande driving up from Garden Grove to take on the Cardinals at the Cardinal Nest. Until then, this is Lou Stowers telling you the final score from Olympian Field on the campus of Leuzinger High School in the Mayor's Cup 2007. Olympians 48, Cougars nothing. Until next week, so long.